Hello and welcome to day 2 of the free-to-play account. So very early. We'll see how far I can take this free-to-play account. I always like playing free-to-play and pay-to-play just to get an idea of the different ways to play a game. And yesterday, just to recap, I did almost all of my tier 0 equipment, meaning I finished the jetpack first, so Supreme Jetpack. Then second, I went to the visor so I could see the nodes far away because I was doing a lot of mining. And that was Supreme as well. And I got to the advanced boots. I just need to finish up the Supreme boots. I had a bunch of technical issues yesterday. I think for anyone starting out who isn't also streaming and dealing with other issues, 3 hours is plenty of time to get these 3 things done. I think 2 hours is a little more reasonable, and I know a dev that does it in under an hour, which is pretty crazy. I cannot come close to under an hour to get all 3 done, but certainly can do it in 2. So I'm going to finish that up first, but I was checking out, as you can see on screen here, I wanted to look at my missions because to formulate a plan for today. I don't need to go to history, but actually we can click on milestones here. Milestones, and the airdrop will be a huge portion of the money that we do get from playing. And there are a bunch of free things you can do. I looked at survival today. It's a bad deck. The lynxes are in there and it's bugged out, so you only get 4 alluvials today. It's not a good deck to get any survival points, but certainly we can defeat wave 30 in survival at some point for 100,000 points, which will be a significant amount of money for us. And we can certainly capture the tier 0 stage 1 alluvials as well. We'll do that, maybe even the stage 2s. And today I'm going to get started on forging the tier 0 stage 1 suits and or weapons. Suits are a little easier to complete, so I think I'll start with that. And we'll look at Alpha Battle Suit on the marketplace. Let's search for it. Alpha Battle Suit. Alright. It is not showing up in the search, so we'll just do tier 0. Maybe I'm not logged in, that's why. Yeah, I think I got booted. I was logged in. Alright, let's try it again with the tier 0 search. Get rid of this. Oh, okay. So we are... That's weapons, sorry. Suits. Okay, good. Alright, Alpha Battle Suit, not worth anything. In ETH, it's worth 1/3 of a penny, maybe? So let's go to weapons. You can see these are stage 1s, and they're worth pennies, so weapons are better. We'll start with weapons, and we'll go to see if we start making money at the stage 2 weapons. 21 cents, 22 cents, so not bad. 6 or 7 stage 2 weapons, and we can do a run, looks like. And then stage 3. If we want to sell the stage 3, might be lower even, because more people would go for that. Let's check it out. And yep, they are lower. So maybe stop at stage 2 and sell those. Yep, that's what I suspected. So weapons first. Maybe just do stage 1 and 2 and sell the stage 2s. Let's try it. See if that'll get us where we need to go. And who knows, maybe we'll catch a dark hollow alluvial or something. Okay, so that's going to be the plan. Hopefully Twitch is not giving me the black screen today. I redid the stream. Let me know, please, out there, if you are on Twitch and you're getting the black screen death. I'll try another thing for tomorrow. But, yeah, why not teleport out here and in. Okay. I am going to finish the boots first. And then come through. And there's a new episode, I think, that I haven't seen of the download. So I'm going to bring that up. Catch up on all my alluvium.
Updates coming, what he's working on, and how he feels about the Illuvium launch itself. So I'm very excited to get into all this information, keeping you up to date with all of the latest news at Illuvium. And today with me, I have a special guest. I have Sam Withers, good friend of the channel, and someone who's going to help keep me sane because I'm very tired right now. How's it going, man?
Good. The download is complete. No TSG. I feel like we're already off to a good start.
TSG is just gone. He's just abandoned us. No, but seriously, he is very busy right now for obvious reasons. So I'm looking forward to when he can join us again. But, I mean, we'll see when that is. We have no idea. So let's jump straight into it. We have a great leak here. Dimitri loves Buck, and he has no idea he can pick anything else. But this is a great visual. I know that people have started unlocking blueprints and things like that. But as far as I can tell, I don't think anyone's actually minted a blueprint onto the blockchain, which is really fascinating.
I did, I swear I saw something on Twitter.
I'm on the wrong account. I don't even know how this happened. I haven't played on this account since yesterday. Weird. Okay, this is bizarre. Let's see if it just connects to the correct account here. Sorry. Oh, please just go to the right account. Oh, it did. Okay, well, whatever. Huh. I have no explanation for that. The kids haven't even been here, so I can't blame my 5-year-old playing on that account. Okay. I guess we can just look at the ore real quick. Resources, ore. Yeah, it looks like I'm pretty short. I'm gonna need a lot of ore.
Twitter or X that someone that did it, but then there were some other people that were trying to do it and was confused and couldn't figure it out. So that is not fully confirmed, so don't hold that to me, but I thought I saw one person attempt it. But
yeah. As far as I'm aware, I don't know if it's actually available yet because all the blueprints are somewhat made, but I don't think they're actually made the art for them all and stuff like that. And it has something to do with the 0-point transducer. It might need to be max level. It might need to be level 2 or 3. I don't know. I think Viper's trying to figure it out now. But I'm looking forward to when I can put skins on stuff. Like today even, I jumped in. I'm like, you know what? My team isn't total garbage. So I'm going to put together an Ascendant team. And I built a team. And there was just something satisfying about going to the Ascendant arena and using the Illuvials that you own to battle against an opponent, and you both kind of having half-assed teams. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to when skins and things are represented in there. Now, I don't know if this was a bug for me, but my Scoriox was not holo, which really disappointed me. He was just a regular old Scoriox. I'm like, what is this? So I hope that gets fixed soon, But yeah, I'm looking forward to when they upgrade Ascendant because it's not perfect, sure, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I know that you worked really hard getting that holo all the way through. I saw you leveling like 9 Furies or something at once, and it was quite funny for 6 hours on stream. But yeah, I've yet to play Ascendant because I don't have all the lower tiers Alluvials, which I think that's a bit of a barrier to entry there. But I haven't felt that feeling of going, here's my Alluvials in the Overworld, here's the arena. how do I feel? Like, I know I own these, like I see holos, I see my skins or battle boards or emotes. I haven't experienced that yet. There's obviously some things that haven't been done as well. So I want to know how you genuinely felt when you go, here's my alluvials. Did it feel different? Then it's like being on-chain and off-chain, right? So how did you feel, like, genuine? Did it change your mindset, like, oh, this feels special? Or was it just like, these are my alluvials?
It did feel special, but not necessarily because these are my alluvials. It was more, these are our alluvials. So, like, I was playing against this opponent, and I don't know if he was a really good player or not, but he was giving it a good shot. I've heard of people just forfeiting to try and get the rewards and stuff, but he wasn't one of those players.
Right.
And he, like, drops, like, 4 fleeches, and I'm like, okay. Okay, like, this guy may be just a free-to-play player or something. And then all of a sudden, he drops a Titanosaur on the board, and this Titanosaur starts, like, taking me to town. Like, Scoriox cannot beat a Titanosaur. It's like its nemesis, basically.
There's very few of them, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what was so fascinating about it, is just these 5 fleeches doing their work, and the Titanosaur at the front unkillable for some... Because he got all these great augments for it. It was really funny. This Titanosaur's, like, destroying me. And I outscaled him a bit, because I think Titanosaur was kind of the only ace in the hole he had. But that was the exciting thing. It was like... I don't know how he got the Titanosaur. I don't know if he bought it off someone. I don't know if he caught it. It doesn't really matter. He got it somehow, but he didn't get the other stuff that he needed to beat me. And at the same time, I got Scoriox myself, and I used that to help defeat him. I got some pretty good augments for it, and I had dust set up and stuff like that. So there was definitely a combination of my opponent doesn't have every alluvial he needs. I don't have every alluvial I need, but we both acquired these alluvials somehow, and we're using them to battle each other. And it did actually feel pretty special. I think it'll feel more special once I'm going into ranked, and it'll feel even more special once I'm taking them into tournaments and things like that as well. But it was really interesting. I'm looking forward to the Leviathan stuff. I know that is Leviathan for the Ascendant mode. I haven't tried it yet though.
Do you think that it would be better for Ascendant mode? Obviously, there's changes coming. That if you just had stage 3, that it should automatically count for stage 1 and 2, or you don't like that idea?
It would certainly make life easier, but it's a little bit dull. I don't know. There's something about having to have the full connection that gives collection that gives you a benefit, and I like that. But at the same time, I did run into the issue where I got my Scoriox, and then I was going to go into battle Caveman. We had some other issues why we didn't do it. And I was like, shit, I don't have a Firiox anymore, so I can't actually use my Scoriox. And that was pretty annoying, but I think that's just up to the individual. Some might know already, I've actually built a collection tracker, so you can put in like your wallet, and it shows you every alluvial you own. So it makes it a little bit easier to see what you do and don't have. And you can also see which holos do I own, which dark holos do I own, and stuff like that. It's all really neat. And so I think that'll help, because that was the issue I had. I'm like, oh, I forgot I don't have a Firiox, you know. So, and all the third-party sites are building out these sort of tools as well. So it's going to get easier, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. So, Dimitri said, at the end of each run, your substance that you collected gets analyzed. And if there is something, you get a message, meaning you contributed to the decoding. You get this code partially decoded thing. And what's interesting, and we'll find out very, very soon, is people contributed to the region unlock, got their wallets and names listed. And the person who cracked the code gets access to the region first and can enjoy the peaceful discovery for 6 hours. After 6 hours, it's open for everyone else, just like what we saw with the Bizzle Basin. That's kind of cool if they get first access to it. I get that's kind of a story beat, but I mean, it's not that interesting from a gameplay perspective. It's just kind of funny. But if like a streamer got early access to it, that is pretty funny. And if I was that person, I would definitely jump straight on stream and I would start streaming it, and I would look for all the lore clues, because I'm the only one that can find them now, and no one else can find them for 6 hours. And so I'm like the first person to uncover them and show them with people. That's kind of cool, but like it's not that big of a deal, so it's a little bit tricky.
I'm listening to Scoriox.
Yeah, I think the 6 hour thing is a bit of a gimmick, but it would have been cool if, say, there was certain alluvials only in their certain regions, but obviously, you know, we're in beta in a way and we're testing things out and everything else. So I felt like that would be a cool feature if there was like multiplayer and all these other things, but maybe that will matter in region 4, 5, 6, or 7 when it's a bit more meaningful. And then I saw it sold on the marketplace for, I think, 0.8 of an ETH or something. I think Beal sold it for $2,000-ish, I think. I was going to offer 1 ETH, but he already sold it, and I didn't get to it in time. I don't know if it's just like a valuable collector thing. And congrats to Beal for opening it up. I didn't do any of it. Did you ever unlock a code or anything?
No, I didn't manage it. We find out more. They've talked about how they unlock and stuff in some of my notes here, so we'll go over it very soon.
Yep.
But I think what would have made it all really interesting is they do it a little bit in the movie, but it mostly happens in the book. I don't know if you've seen Ready Player One, the movie.
Yeah, too many times.
Yeah, well, basically at the end of that movie, when everyone's destroyed or whatever, or in the book it's a little bit more detailed, but basically when he's going through the final challenge, it automatically opens up a vid feed of him doing the challenge to every single person in the universe. That is what we needed. We needed, like, this person gets access to this region for 6 hours, and now everyone can watch them through like an in-game giant screen in the sky or something like that.
Yeah.
And everyone can watch him explore this region while they're playing in the game. As I said, it would be more interesting if the streamer got it, because then they could stream it and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is the real way to do it, where everyone becomes a streamer inside this game in some way, or you can like follow them around as a ghost or something.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing that makes this sort of mechanism really interesting. Without it, it's a little bit gimmicky. I kind of like it, but yeah.
Do you think I think the Frost place is next, if I'm not mistaken, or whatever the next region is, not after these three, but the fourth one where no one has been yet. Do you think it would be cool if we had spectator mode, if there was like a live stream on the Illuvium website where whoever unlocks it for the 6 hours or however long they choose, where we get to see that via the Illuvium website, so we can follow him around and go, what's he finding, what's he doing? I think that'll be pretty cool if that's doable.
I'd be highly doubtful if that's doable or easy to do, but if it was, then yeah, that would be really, really cool. I have no idea what's going to be next. I know Tiger Boreal and Halcyon Sea are both the ones that are nearing completion. Which order they come in is anyone's guess. I hope Tiger's next, but I have a feeling it's going to be Halcyon.
I saw on the launch party that one of the designers said it was Tiger Boreal, that all focus is on that right now. So I think that is the next one, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but they might have, as far as I'm aware, they might have actually finished Halcyon Sea before they're finishing up Tiger Boreal. Halcyon Sea might be basically ready, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, fair.
Like, that's kind of the vibes I've gotten in the past, but you're right, they've shown a lot more of Tiger, so we'll see.
Yeah, time will tell.
Alright, so the next one we got here is Nick talking about how the burning overhead of SRV2 fuel crates are bringing in some revenue while the game is still being fleshed out. Playing the game with this in mind, progressing now ahead of new features and major updates is how he's viewing the current launch cycle of Illuvium. He'd also love a new roadmap for each of the products with some beautiful concept art. What we're not doing right now is telling much of a story about what's to come. Obviously, there is a lot to come in the future. It's simply the game is here, but there's not much narrative surrounding it as what to come. Gamers, and even more so RPG players, want to know they're getting ahead of the curve before other things come in the future. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that. I think the RPG elements people are really excited for as well. So I can't wait. There's a whole lot of new stuff. I will make a video at some point. Hey Jeff, how's it going, man?
I do want to mention, especially with a lot of people out there, we already know what the sort of pain points are, especially within the community, but I do realize, like, people think that you launch a game, then most of your money's made at the start, and then it sort of dwindles off, and then you don't really have enough revenue to keep going. I think in Illuvium's case, it's going to be quite different. We have fuel crates, we have SILV2 that we need to burn, which we already all knew, which is giving players basically free money to utilize, and we're losing money from the DAO perspective. But the game's not polished or finished, so I don't think this is an issue. The way I see it, I don't know how you see it, but sure, we're going to have this lull period around the next couple of weeks, maybe even 1 or 2 months, where we're testing out this marketing strategy where, you know, they might be doing a few ads here and there on a low cost just to get there, see what the cost per acquisition would be. And then on top of that, you'll see things like not enough features in there. Like there's no alluvials in the, you know, Gauntlet Leviathan. I think that people need to sort of take a step back here and go, okay, this is what we got to play right now. We're testing it all out still. We're getting the data in. And then say in a month's time when there's use cases for these alluvials, I feel like people will realize, okay, we can sort of find that what is the median of all these alluvials costs, and then they can work out what's a net positive run or a net negative. And I find that the community is just a bit eager, I would say. Let the team do its thing. If they had these features ready, they would have put them in the game. Where they don't, They know all the problems. The fuel price is high. We all know why. We know how to fix these things. It's going to happen over time when the lamp plots come out. So I really hope people see the vision of, yes, people are coming in, these new players, and they might leave. But as soon as we input alluvial combat or questing or anything like that, like everyone's going to blast it over socials and there'll be, ads and bringing TFT players in. People are going to be like, oh, I played that game. I'm going to come back. And then more players are going to come in to see this alluvial combat down the line. So I don't know why people are stressing. I think they are stressing a little bit too much, but everyone just needs to relax, in my opinion. Anyways, a bit of a tangent, but we'll keep going.
No, I was going to talk on the same line. Just quickly, I'll answer this. When will fuel go down? In my estimate, kind of too expensive right now. Personally speaking, on my tier 3, I'm just hitting Nexus 7. I think I am a bit ahead of the curve there. But I expect T4s and T3s to start outputting insane amounts of fuel over the next week or so. And so after about a week from now, I think fuel prices will start to come down. But on your point, I think you're right. We've had an initial launch, but we do have one more chance for another launch cycle. And like you said, multiplayer and overworld combat will make the game feel completely different to what it is now. The problem, well, the good and the bad here is that we now have several months to fix all of the issues that we're facing right now. The big one is that I'm hearing really mixed criticism, but it's really fascinating where I don't think people hate the actual prices themselves, but they hate the frequency of payments and how unfriendly that is to typical players of video games and things like that. And I never really thought about that as much depth as I had previously. We've mostly dealt with things like travel. We've mostly talked about travel prices in the past, but we haven't really discussed other things. And to be fair, it's only been the past 2 months or so where we've added prices to things like fusing. We've added prices to things like a whole lot of crafting weapons and that sort of stuff. And so I think if we can condense all that or hide it away, that is what we need to do before Overworld combat, and we're set. Maybe we only have the one big transaction, which is you pay when you travel, or you have the one big transaction where you pay for a shard. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what the answer is, but I think it needs to be simplified and easier to grasp for anyone before alluvial combat. That's my hope. Once that's done, I think we're set.
Yeah, I think we should unpack this. I don't know what you've got on the schedule for the whole show or whatever, but I think, I don't know, like, they have the data, right? We don't have the data. Right now, we know there's about 13,000 wallets. I don't know what the daily active users are, but I know the stickiness and the retention is really, really good. Like, I worked out what people are spending per person, and it's through the roof. Like, it destroys Web 2. And as much as we want to say, yeah, fuel prices are high, and I personally know, and I think, like, they might go down by 50% in the coming weeks and months because more land will come online. There'll be wallets that are doing scholarships and everything else, or rental sort of ideas. But I think there'll be that equilibrium, like, balance in the whole ecosystem, and we need to give it time. There's no point, like, we have marketing money. We're not spending it now because there's no point, right? Like, people will come in and be like, oh, I've got to spend even more money. It's confusing. It's just not the right time. Let the bugs come out. Let the fuel system, like you thought of, let them figure it out. Let's see the data. What are people hating? What are they loving? How do we put this in? What does the community want? And then say they implement this over the next month or two, you can buy fuel in game. Like when you click passport at the front of the game, it doesn't take you to a website. It's built in the client. All these little things that will make the experience better. And then you go out and target all these influencers and marketing ads in 2 months' time, and maybe alluvial combat, or even if it's a little bit longer. That's okay. We still have 14, 15 months of runway, and I don't see the concerns here other than, wow, look, we're actually pulling in a bunch of revenue. We're doing more revenue than Render, and Render's a $2.5 billion evaluation. I think it was Jag or someone that brought that up. So I honestly believe we're in a really good position. Numbers are going up. They have the data. Some people will love and hate certain things, and we'll see how it plays out. I could be wrong, but it's an addictive game. Like, I remember the first 2-3 days of playing Alluvium, I was like, holy crap, like, this is like the pokies, or like gambling in a way with the degen, but it's a game. It's never been done before, and I'm like, I just don't see myself going back to other games where I don't have ownership, or I don't have this stickiness like I wanted to play. So that's my personal opinion anyway.
Yeah, the people that are already here are loving it. They're greatly addicted to it. They enjoy it. I can see myself playing at least 1 or 2 runs a day, every single day for the next 2-3 years. I can easily see that. I That's more because I don't have time, and maybe I would play more, but I'm more of a play a little bit of different games here and there. And I think you're right. We are missing a little bit of that what's drawing people in sort of factor, and I think Overworld combat will really help that. Obviously, Palworld's virality says a lot about that sort of gameplay style. And so I'm looking forward to those elements coming in. Even things like a battle royale, people love to come in for a battle royale. It's free to play. It will draw in so many different people. So there's all those sorts of drawing in people elements that we haven't really quite fleshed out yet. But all of the things for people to fall in love with the IP are starting to get polished and set up now. And I think it's addictive for people who are inside the core gameplay loop. Getting them in here is relatively tricky, and we got to figure that out. But we'll move on, and maybe we'll talk about the whole fuel thing at the very end as well. But yeah, Bracelet, which you said, ILV is doing more revenue than Render. I'm surprised Render is doing so little, to be honest, but that's interesting. The next one is, on this address, you can actually see the fuel revenue. I'll bring that up.
Like, and people are still paying, otherwise fuel prices would go down. Like, people are still spending, you know, what is it, $213,000 in 6 days. Crazy.
So $213,000 in Ethereum has come in, and $80,000 in SRV2, which is not too shabby at all. And yeah, so as we get more players, it'll definitely be interesting to see how this develops over time. Obviously, we have the outcome where maybe players start spending less over time because they've caught everything, but people haven't caught everything yet, so who knows? But I think this looks really healthy, and this doesn't even include, I don't think it includes, it might include, I'm not sure if it includes things like emotes and stuff that have been purchased. And I've bought a lot of emotes, by the way. I freaking love those things. If you guys haven't bought emotes yet, they're really cool, and there are so many different ones. I got one that's like a Hulk Malura, and he's doing like the Hulk pose. It's sick. All right.
Can you use the emotes and battle boards in Ascendant yet, or is that coming soon?
I think so. I forgot to actually equip it when I played my game. I'm going to try that straight after this, but yes.
Yeah, okay.
If anyone in chat knows, let us know, guys. All right, so the other thing is Johnny has said here, he agrees that this should be an area of focus, which I think he's talking about arena tournaments, ladders, and things like that. And he wants to understand that you can't just move 100 staff to focus on arena and expect that it makes a 12-week turnaround become a 2-week turnaround, which is, yeah, one thing that people in the chat don't tend to understand that well. But it's also clear that not only the only thing that can be done, adding a bunch of cool quests and multiplayer to Overworld would probably have a much more dramatic effect. See, there's so many things they can add in the near future that are going to be really, really awesome.
Yeah, I think, sorry, just to go back to that fuel, the ETH intake, like people are like, oh, we're not even covering costs. In what world do you cover costs in the first month of a business? Like, you lose, when you start a business, you lose for many, many years money. Like, Netflix was in the hole, like, $80 billion or something stupid. I don't know the number. But, that like, that people expecting all this, like, boom moment, or this, oh, we go to 1,000 ILV per token, or whatever it is. Like, give it time. Imagine a world, just picture the vision of, there's raiding at the end of your run, or some raiding sort of system. You get to play with friends. There's a quest line. There's a story line. All the bugs are fixed. There's Ascendant leaderboard arenas. Everyone's winning like ILV and they're competing. And then there's this influx of more players of TFT and Overworld. And like that's all within probably 6 months, if I'm very honest with you, or a lot of it is within the next sort of 2-3 months. But if you just picture a world like that, because that's what it's going to be, then I can't see myself playing any other game, because everything I want is in one game, and then the fuel prices will drop and everything else. So if you guys believe in that vision, in the team that they'll deliver that, then I don't know why everyone just needs to relax again. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all about retention too, which is quite funny. It's like you can either get 1 million players on day one and then 990,000 of them leave, or you can start off with 10,000 players and add 1,000 players every week. But those 1,000 players that came every week don't ever leave. And so now you're slowly growing to 1 million players, but these players are playing every single day, you know what I mean? And I think what's been interesting around the Twitter circles, and from what Kieran has said, and we'll see in a minute, but Illuvium Zero has the highest play time out of all 3 games by far.
Crazy. The dark horse.
I think the free-to-play players are really loving it as well. And the funny thing is, many people in my chats and stuff will probably say this is why, but I don't actually think it's got anything to do with it being on mobile. I think people are just enjoying it. People love a game where they can just play a few minutes every day and stuff like that, you know? Like, I don't know. I reckon it's got that you got a reason to keep coming back and playing over and over again. It's a little bit less like that in Overworld, you know. It's
I want to see the data of it. I would love to see the data. Like, imagine the retention. Like, even if there is only, say, there's 13,000 wallets or something, and say, I don't know, 5,000 are playing, 4,000 or whatever the retention. Like, if the retention is high and the numbers are good, like, there's nothing to worry about. With Illuvium Zero, that sort of, I guess, it was a bit mind-boggling that has like really good numbers or whatever. But you don't think it is mobile, whereas I sort of think it is, because most Web3 players are mobile. I think, in my opinion, and there's not many PC. But I think, imagine if we put more resources to Illuvium Zero and see how that was fleshed out.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of chat on this today, so we will get to that very soon. So the next one is, Aaron said you will never get back what you lost, but you can now decide what to believe. I have no idea what this is to do. And yes, over time, more info about stuff revealed. It might just understanding. And remember, it will only affect the missions and quests you get. This is as far as the factions go. And you can change your faction at any time. It's a fun story that lets you understand who you are in the game. And later, absolutely, we'll add fun stuff, faction wars, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to how they flesh out all the stuff from here. And yeah, it's been really exciting to see kind of how the lore's evolving. I haven't really been keeping up to it heaps myself because I'm not a big story guy, but I do want to get more into it. How's it going, Kev?
Yeah, it should be good.
So the other thing Aaron says is when your drone decodes the message, it doesn't get all the data. It misses out the video because we didn't want to spend money on recording the video yet. Eventually you might see a video from these files, but it won't contain more info than what we've learned from those little rods that are found around the maps. And the other thing is that as far as the lore comes, it will come. And if Aaron gave us the backstory of everything, then there would be nothing left to discover. You can change your faction at any time, like I said before. And it's what do you believe about the world? And it flavors the types of missions you get, which I didn't realize. And I don't know if this is related to the airdrop missions, but if it is, that's interesting as well. And trust me, you'll want to let it come naturally over time. Let the story evolve on you. I'll have to do a video breaking down a lot of the story points. Okay. Actually, that would be a really fun video. I might do that tomorrow. I might make that my mission. Okay. don't give me that. That sounds fun.
No, please do it.
All right. So this one is really, really good here. Okay. So he talks about the factions lore. Celestials, they're devotees of light, and they view the interstellar journey as a divine trial, with Illuvium as their prophesized paradise and ultimate reward. So it's basically Jerusalem. The Celestials interpret ancient data as sacred scripts, blending technology and faith for their quest for the promised world. So what Aaron was saying before is these four factions, the thing that binds them together is they all view Illuvium itself as something different from all of their viewpoints, which is a really fascinating way to build out a world in general. The Sojourner Cosmic Archivists, who believe in the eternal cycle of universes, they see themselves as living records, gathering and preserving wisdom to enrich the universal memory. They approach for new discoveries a vital piece of cosmic understanding to be carefully documented for future cycles. The Adaptum are a clandestine order of skilled navigators, explorers, and they work covertly to protect their people from perceived threats, subtly influencing the course of their civilization's journey. And the Aetherborn are fervent believers in a cosmic order that has chosen them for a greater purpose. So really cool backstory on the four things there. You can go check it out for yourself at some point. Kaibo, excellent point here. We need rewards for Arena and have Arena on mobile. Okay, I think Arena on mobile is more important than rewards for Arena. I think Gauntlet on mobile is most important out of them all. I think that's way more accessible on mobile. Arena much less so. But I have no idea how much work it actually takes to get Arena onto mobile. Like, do you think it would be insane, man?
I think it's planned for next year, right? And I think they were looking at a team or a third party to start doing it. I mean, it depends on resources and costs and everything else. But I think, to be honest, I think rewards for Gauntlet Leviathan is one thing. We need alluvial use cases, which is just around the corner. But Arena for mobile, yeah, it's on the roadmap. Like, everything is a yes. Yes to everything.
So the next one we've got here is, like I said before, anyone that gets a decoding success message will get an NFT. So I think that makes it sound like those 9 wallets that help decode it are all going to get an NFT. Do you know what those individual NFTs look like? Have we seen them?
I haven't seen an image of them, no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So Aaron also says that when you finish a run, your drone will analyze the substance you collected, and it will try to find a very big number, like mining on the blockchain. If it finds it, then you get a key. The person who gets the 36th key unlocks the region, and everyone gets an NFT. Very, very cool.
Interesting.
So the other thing is we'll also have a new feature soon that will make it more enjoyable, which I think is referring to Gauntlet and or Ascendant. Where they front loaded a lot of work, so that was smart. The bad thing was that we had to pivot on many things, so there's some good and some bad, but not even close to all. There is a lot coming to enhance all the different arena experiences, and honestly, as someone who's about to get way more into Ascendant, I'm really looking forward to that myself.
I mean, you played with your alluvial, so I guess you know how it feels if you're just doing 1v1 instead of an 8-round robin. I wouldn't even mind, like I know TFT does 8 people. I wouldn't even mind changing that to 6, so that way there's less queues and I feel like the game won't go as long, but that's probably a personal opinion thing. But I think also on top of that, with the alluvials and what's coming and everything else, I hate being a sort of a broken record, but all of these things are coming. It shouldn't be too far away. But my question is to you is, would you like to see nothing happen for, say, a month, right? Where, like, they're churning in the back and they're not doing super updates and they're just figuring everything out. And then, like, in a month or 2 months' time, they just come out with Alluvial Combat, Gauntlet, like, everything just a big update out of nowhere and multiplayer or something? Or would you rather these incrementals, like, hey, in a week's time, there's an update and then maybe something little as well on top of that?
You want to try and have what the large studios do and the really successful games is they have to find a way to refresh their game often. Now,
Fortnite's a great example of that. Every 3 months or something, right?
Yeah, Fortnite's a great example, but I'm talking about they do it even more often than that. So, like, League of Legends will release 3 or 4 champions a year, so that's 3 or 4 months knocked out. They'll have major patches or a major map overhaul once or twice a year as well, and then smaller patches littered throughout as well. So every single month, there's a bunch of meta shifts that actually completely changes who you play in the game, the way you play. And obviously, most of it's like balancing and balance adjustments, and new champions kind of shake up the game as well. But it keeps the thing really fresh, and it keeps new things to do and stuff like that. So I would say if you have 10 updates planned, try and get 12 updates planned and try and have one hit every single month. It keeps it so much more engaging. The beauty is that I'm assuming the last 4 regions are all close to completion. And so we've got 4 of those months knocked out already. Okay. Then we have Overworld Combat, which is the 5th month. We've got Gauntlet ranked leaderboards, which is really the only thing Gauntlet's missing. That knocks out another month. We've got Alluvium Beyond Wave 3, which knocks out another month. So we've got about 7 or 8 events already planned that are going to keep the game really fresh and engaging. It's really just the systemic things that need to be fixed more on the ASAP side of stuff. Like we were talking about with the fuel and things like that. So it's a bit interesting.
Yeah.
Hope this keeps me from getting locked out.
All right, get on to the next one. All right. So Dimitri said that he can't wait to see when we start selling fuel to the market and watch the supply and demand price adjustment start to take effect, which I think is not that far away. As I just said, I'm about to hit Nexus 7. I'm building 50 more buildings on my land. I must be one of the only people that rushed Nexus 7. Anyone who didn't is a fool, but that's okay. You guys will learn. I'll make videos. I'll show you guys. I'll show you what it's about. But
I don't think... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm about to start producing so much fuel.
Yeah, well, I'd love to know what, like, if you ever make a video, how much does tier 1 make endgame, tier 2 endgame, 3 and 4? It would be really helpful. I think I saw last thing with Viper, he was at 2,700 fuel per day, and it was still increasing. But I think there's barely anyone playing their land plots. Whether there's scholarships that haven't been started, I think it's very low. So it's going to be interesting in about a month or 2 when it all comes online, scholarships and everything else, and then fuel will just drop. And then there'll be this really cool balancing act between the landholders and the overworld players of where, like you're sort of seeing now, like I've seen it go from like 0.0087, 0.0083, 0.0085. Like these are very small adjustments right now, but it's going to be exciting to see when there's more of the ecosystem online. I think it's going to be super fun.
The grand question here, the big unanswered question is, let's say fuel does drop like 80%. I have no idea what the lower threshold is, or even if there is one. I've lost track on that now.
No, there isn't one.
But let's say it drops 80, 90%. Will a lot more players come in? And I think that's the golden question, because I'm not sure they will. As far as the criticism I'm seeing, the price is somewhat of an issue, but it's more the structure of how the game is set up that people just don't enjoy, and they're staying away from it. So if we could fix that structure and then the price drops, I think that would be really exciting. So hopefully.
Even if the prices drop drastically, that means all of your assets become less and less valuable as well. Like you'll see all the alluvials drop in price. You'll see the rare shards even go lower. So there has to be some sort of give and take, I feel, in the pricing structure. And I don't think it'll bring more people in. If anything, it'll just bring maybe more bots in or something like crazy. I think you're exactly right. I don't know if people like the idea of continually playing for these fuel runs. But again, they've got the data, they'll figure it out. They've got economists, they'll know exactly what to do. They're a lot smarter than us at this. They will know, and we just have to trust the team.
Yeah, I think the competitive side of things will change up stuff as well. Like if we throw like a huge Leviathan tournament and top prize is like $100,000, that's the ultimate testament, because really the only way to get fantastic stat alluvials for cheap will be to just go in and adventure in the overworld a ton and stuff like that. And that's kind of the missing piece here, is there's not really a reason to go and capture your own alluvials besides buying them off the market. And there's not enough players to really service that supply yet. So we really need a reason to want to own a lot of alluvials, and we don't have the competitions and the esports side of things to support that yet. I know I've said that it doesn't really matter that much in the past, and clearly I was mostly wrong here. But I'm looking forward to what they do with Arena. Let me just put it that way. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So the other comment here is actually really funny. It's from Grant. He says, if you type God mode into Overworld chat, you won't lose any more battles, and Cucked will mint you 100 cookers to sell in the marketplace for instant profit. That should make things fun again. I think we should add that to the game. I'll get the IOP underway. Okay, so Kieran, alright. Many of you might not know about this whole dynamic survival mode thing, but basically in the survival mode right now, if you hit wave 40, you get 1 million points, and you can do that over and over and over again for some reason. Oh no, you can't. I think you can do that once, but you can make like 100 accounts, right?
Yes.
And the issue is that not only can you do it for free, but since all the survival modes are the same every day, you can just copy a content creator and get to wave 40 easily. And so there are many concerns. Basically, my biggest concern is it's probably just diluted and fucked the entire airdrop pool. But that's just me. Anyways, Kieran addresses it here, where we can't figure out who cheated and who didn't cheat. Apparently, Monarch had a bug, so it was actually really easy to beat, because you could, like, break the game, basically. So unfortunately, we need to invalidate all points for survival mode. It's not the best solution, but it's the best way to keep it fair. He wants to stress that this is no one's fault. You can't get angry at people for exploiting it. We need to be better in the future to ensure these avenues aren't available for people to game the system. And he says, sorry, it's the team's fault and it's not the community's fault. Which I think is good. It's good to see him apologizing. And I think he has recognized this, but people in the community have said, yeah, there's a lot of people that told you this was going to happen many days before the launch of the game. I'm pretty sure we brought it up in the AMA as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, not much really to add to that. So, yeah, they've taken responsibility and it shouldn't have happened.
All right. I think this is where I'm up to. Oh, no, I broke it. Oh, no, that was a really good one. Hold on.
Also, in regards to survival, while Scoriox brings up whatever he's broken, is that I think in the future it's going to be, instead of it's going to be the same thing for everyone, everyone's going to get different cards. I don't know what you call it, but there's some sort of wording that someone told me today where survival mode, yeah, there you go. It'll be different for everyone, so which is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that's part of the IOP. I think that makes it a lot more fun. That's why I'm a fan of it. It makes it harder to do content around it because you can't just show someone the answer to a puzzle, essentially.
Yeah,
but I think it makes for more fun content. Teaching people how to actually play the game could be really cool, but just my opinion there. Alright, so this one here is great. Kieran actually goes on doodling some ideas for Illuvium Zero. This is a big part of today's stream. You guys really want to listen to this one. The Stat Roller, a re-roll server. So basically building a land where people can come and re-roll the stats for their alluvials. Passive plant collection. Plant harvesting service to other players. I don't know what that's helpful for, but that sounds pretty cool. Fuel-powered competitions. I think this sounds really awesome. We know the tier 5 lands are going to have giant arenas on them. What if there's even more, or even like a wagering pool or something? I think that could be really, really cool. Trading gyms, which you've been talking about to death, but at this point, where you can train and level up your alluvials on someone's land. Revival stations. So they don't actually have alluvial death or fainting in the game yet. But if they ever brought that back, this would be a good way to deal with it. Alchemy Center, where landholders can offer a service for burning alluvials, alluviatars, and accessories to create augments and all sorts of stuff. And integration with the Overworld and Arena. So none of these are guaranteed or in the game by any means. But I do like, and I think this is the right way to approach Alluvium Zero, is making it a hub for facilities and things like that. Overworld is a hub for capturing and minting alluvials. Alluvium Zero is a hub for automated overworld runs and alluvial leveling up and alluvial burning and stat rerolls and all the facilities related to alluvials. Now, you make it an easy front end for people where they just go, I want to do this, and it chooses the best land where they just do it. I want to do this. Make it easy for people, but still, I really like that. I like the focus of adding utility to land rather than actually just trying to bump up how much revenue they make off the bat, you know? So I think it adds a lot more to the overall ecosystem.
Yeah, I think it's some really cool ideas in there. We'll see what the community likes. And I wish Alluvium would do this more where, say they don't have an answer or they've got some ideas, is just bring it to the community, do a poll on Twitter or Discord and be like, hey guys, we're thinking of putting these 4 in. What do you guys think? And then whatever leads the charge, let's go with that because that's what the core community wants. So I hope in the future that Alluvium sort of brings that more social interaction. So that way the players' voices can be heard. Like, hey guys, what do you think about missions? Like, give us your full feedback and we'll listen to all of it, and just have one person go through all the jargon and be like, okay, we know what the community wants. We're listening, even though they probably listen more so than any other Web3 game. I think that'd be even a really nice touch to put towards it. But I really do like the idea of the Alchemy Center of burning the alluvials. Like, if you go through people's inventories right now in the overworld, there's just a lot of crap everywhere. And I'm OCD, so I like having clean things. I like to clean it all up. So if you could just send that somewhere and whatever you can get out of it and burn it all, I think that's one, it's good for the ecosystem. And I feel like it also is, burning alluvials or anything else is also a positive in the right direction again.
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to with the Alluvium ecosystem. I do hope that we do like a giant capital raise soon and just put everyone's minds at ease, because I think Alluvium hits its stride after game 4 and especially after game 5. That's where it starts to get interesting. And so I hope we just like secure that future sooner rather than later and then go from there.
If the team can lock in 5 years runway, they have to do off the numbers they're getting now. So obviously, I don't know how hard or difficult that will be, depending on retention rate, stickiness, and so many other factors. And then if VCs want to buy into that, that's like at least a $50 to $100 million raise. And then if there's $5 million in the bank, then there's a lot less stress on the whole department and also the community knowing the game's going nowhere. And fingers crossed they can do that over the next sort of 3 to 6 months. That'll be super, super good.
Yeah, but I think the other thing is, do we or don't we get a bull run, right? I think everyone's hoping for end of this year, start of next year, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter, but everything looks so different in a bull run. Tokens go up for no reason, tokens go crazy, and then we also have things like people invest capital at different scales and different rates, and everything just looks so different. I know Kieran's really good at a bull run, so I hope if we have a bull run, Alluvium uses every single opportunity possible at that time. So hopefully,
people have extra capital and they buy dumb things. Right now, retail is not in crypto. I've been in crypto for 8 years. I say that so many times. And I bought Solana at 80 cents. I bought Luna at 20 cents. All these things, right? And I feel like when there's a bull run, people just have so much excess capital that they just buy anything and everything. And Alluvium still has the token, so that can still go up in price. But then once people learn about revenue distribution, that's sort of like, oh wow, this is a whole nother level of what can happen in an ecosystem or whatever. So yeah,
so it's getting really interesting. So this next one is a really big topic, and Fight for ETH asks, when can we expect debit cards to be available for deposit? Kieran says, we're discussing it with a couple of providers. The biggest thing is security. If something goes wrong, we need to be covered for chargebacks. Now, it's no secret that credit card on-ramps and things are rare in the crypto space. They are really, really rare. And there's a good reason for that. Not only is it hard to get a credit card provider, an on-ramp provider, to want to work with you because you're a crypto project, but your own security is really difficult because blockchain transactions are irreversible. Credit card transactions are different. They are somewhat reversible. And so what happens if I use a credit card to buy some Ethereum and now I go, oh crap, I didn't get my Ethereum. Or maybe it got sent somewhere, but it didn't get sent to my wallet. Illuvium has no power to reverse that or fix that or get legal authorities to go and claim that Ethereum. There's no power there. There's nothing there to reverse on Illuvium's side. And so you need security and insurance and everything to fix that and prevent that. Now, I'm talking on my ass a little bit. I don't know this stuff that well. But that's kind of how I see it, is these two systems don't collide all that great. It's really tricky. And that's why something like MoonPay is so powerful. It's because MoonPay works with IMX. And so that's out of Illuvium's hands. We don't have to deal with any of that security side of shit. MoonPay has to deal with all that and do all that. And so it's good working with someone like them who are doing all the on-ramp debit card stuff. Instead of doing it yourself, it's a whole different situation. It's quite scary, honestly. And I'm not shocked it hasn't been done yet. I know it's important to do it, but I'm not shocked it hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, I would love to see. I think MoonPay just needs to be activated. I think that's sort of step one. I don't think people
I have consumer experience with MoonPay, and it's been good so far for me as a consumer.
can actually use it right now, can they?
They can. I think certain countries are having issues is the big thing, and certain banks have issues. Even I've had my fair share of issues. So it's just unreliable as far as I'm aware, and maybe the USA has a lot of trouble in particular.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I agree with you. I think it is a difficult thing, and hopefully they can solve it eventually, because that would be just easier onboarding, right?
So this one's exciting. Kieran says we will start showing off the marketing revenue numbers once we are a couple of weeks in. It's been 3 days and it's easy for people to twist the narrative. 100% agree. Trust me, all I want to do is start sharing numbers, but we need to be strategic. Yep, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I keep trying to find hidden things, and like you look at the wallets and you work it all out, like spend per head and stuff. But yeah, I can't wait for the numbers. I just want to see DAUs and retention rates and stuff like that. So super excited for that.
I have a lot of the data to get DAU now, so I might build a script that does that.
What do you think as an estimate of what do you reckon the daily active users are?
I think it's similar to testnet, probably 6,000 to 7,000.
Okay, so we have 13,000 wallets. I think nearly 50% is still, or more than 50% is playing every day.
Yeah, I could say that.
I think higher, but we'll see.
I think what's the stat I actually want to look at is what's DAU of free-to-play and DAU of pay-to-play players. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, I think, what would you be happy with how many people are spending? What would you be like, what percentage? Say there's, I don't know, say there's, if it's just a round number, 10,000 players, how many would you love to see that's spending?
Oh, I think if there's 10,000 players, I think at least 10% spending is quite high. In any game, 10% spending is high. I personally am expecting closer to 20 to 30%.
Okay, interesting. Leave it at that.
You're funny. Alright, so this is a really interesting one here. Is Kieran's frustration is with people saying they tried to tell them but they wouldn't listen, which he claims is not what happened. They explained how the system works and the council agreed on the pricing. Again, it's been 6 hours, give it some time. This is a while back. And also rewards will be distributed really soon. They're weeding out the last of the cheaters at the moment. It's important to get the security stuff right. There's nothing that's a better deterrent to cheaters in the system than them failing to get profit from those cheating. Like, if you do manage to weed them all out, then they're going to be like, do we risk cheating again if they're probably going to weed us out again? You know what I mean? So, but if they get through, they're going to be like, oh, we're definitely doing it again. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to get it right.
And ILV going to the right people as well. Remember that. Like, if ILV is going to players and distributing the right people, like, sure, they might sell some, but they're more likely to stake a hold onto it because they like the project. So all positive there.
Absolutely right, Illuvium Gamer. It's about how much you own, not what the token price is. Okay, so here is a leak from Jeremy. Claim your items. So you can claim all this stuff, I think, from buying different merch and things like that. You got the bronze border and stuff like that. Christmas promotion, all that sort of thing. So very exciting to see this screen. I can't wait.
Soon.
I can't wait. Soon, always soon.
No, I haven't been.
Okay, as we quickly look through some of the announcements, we had region travel opening because this episode launched. The last episode was just before the launch, like several hours before the launch. So the region travel opened. There was an Illuvium update with Illuvium 0 patch 1.0.2. Basically fixed a bunch of bugs, if I remember rightly. And there also ran an issue where some of the stuff wasn't minted, but it sounds like they've fixed that pretty quickly. I haven't heard anyone complain about that in quite some time. They're also excited to announce that the counts for both pre-seasons is nearly complete. They're aiming to distribute very soon. And they've got a fix coming and manual minting and things like that for failed transactions. So it looks like they've fixed a bunch of those issues. These announcements are a good testament to how fast the team is working to patch through all these bugs. It sounds like a lot of the big bugs are basically done, and it's all the smaller bugs they're fixing up now. And then once that's done, we get onto new features. Very hot. Yeah. Very, very hot.
Can I just say, name another game that I think they've deployed 3 patches already, and it's been 6 days. Name another game that has deployed even 1 patch in a week from like launch. Like, it doesn't happen. It's very rare. This team knows what they're doing.
I lost my nickel.
It's good.
It took a while to get started. I think early days the team was kind of like floundering a little bit and didn't get everything done perfectly. Yeah. But they're in a really good place right now. I'm glad to see it. So Illuvium 0 patch 1.0.3 was yesterday. This was an awesome patch. Fixed a lot of awesome things. There's one change I don't love. But besides that, they're all really, really good changes.
What is it? What don't you like?
You can get a benefit from converters now.
Okay.
From conversion. So you can turn like...
Cry tomorrow. You can cry tomorrow.
You can convert 10 Solon into 11 Hyperion, for example, which you couldn't do before.
Okay.
Arena patch deployment. I have no idea what that's about.
Another patch.
I think they just fixed a bunch of bugs. Patch deployment complete for that arena patch. Epoch 10 governance election started a couple hours ago.
Are you nominating yourself? Are you going again?
1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know, man. I'm so tired.
I'll vote for you because I want you there. Because, well, I just do. You're very good at it.
I should, but I'm tired. I'm so tired.
I vote for you.
Oh, should I go for IMC again?
Whatever, I'll vote for you either way. I like you, and there's a community one. I haven't kept up to date with it. But Paz, like, he's passionate about the game. Like, why would you not? Like, I see him streaming every day. Like, these are the people you want in the council. So I don't know if it's IMC or whatever else. I'm not really all over it anymore. But yeah, you two need to be still in it. So.
Yeah, so 3-day IMC voting period later on, and then all the rest of it. So, yep, looking forward to that. Ongoing proposals, 6 different ongoing proposals being voted on, discussed. Yeah, I had to vote on so many proposals the other day. I basically took like a mini hiatus from like social media. Took like a mini socials nap, and then I like come back and there's like shitstorms everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And so I'm back up to speed with everything, thankfully. But yes, so elections are soon. Please vote for me. Also, don't forget to use my referral code SCORIOX in the profile settings of the game when you get the chance, or you can use code SAM. For this guy right here.
Just use Oriox. Don't use mine, please. Thank you.
I really loved how you chose Sam for your code, though. That's great.
I'm not going to promote it. I just wanted the name Sam, so I put it on one post. And yeah, I think people need to support yourself and the other creators more so than people like me.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been fun. I've actually had quite a few people support me now. So I'm grinding out the videos. I'm noticing that like every video I put out, I'm getting more people. So clearly it's doing something. Okay, so that's the dynamic. So I almost. Alright, so this proposal we should probably talk about quickly. Streamlining the onboarding experience for new Illuvium players. This is very simple. Right now when you get...
Okay. Can I bring it up? Let's see. Go to obtained here and click on it. So here's the hexagon, and 0 bonuses would be just this middle hexagon purple and nothing else. And there are 6 things of stats that go from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the way. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 levels. We're missing 2 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So we're missing 6 out of 36. So this is a 30 out of 36. And that's pretty rare. I should calculate exactly how rare that is, but I don't think I can do it in my head right now. It's also a hollow, so that's nice. So what I would do with something like this, I would actually take the time to put it up pretty high, you know, maybe even like for $1, and then go to the Discord, post it in the Discord trading channel, and let people know this is a really high value alluvial. It's only up for $1, and see if I can get somebody to buy it. So that's my plan with that. I'll do that probably off stream. Okay. Uh-oh. Any ideas? What is going on? I don't know what's up. Might be stuck on something. Oh no. Alright. Let's do that. Call it a bug.
Into the game, you see all the lore and cinematic and stuff before you get to do anything else in the game. Although I love this, I think you should have the option to play the arena without going through this, like this proposal suggests. And so I think it's a fine change. Basically, you go into the game, you pick arena or overworld. If you pick overworld, you get all your cinematic and stuff. If you pick arena, you get to play arena. And
Good.
like one of the biggest demographics we're going to be streaming with is going to be TFT creators and stuff like that. And we don't want people coming in to try out Gauntlet off the bat and then running into all this other stuff. So I think this is good.
Yeah, and then if you click arena, would you still do the tutorial or something for that, or would you skip that?
I have no idea.
I mean, I like the idea. Like, it's a small change, so yeah, that's super fun, I think. Not an issue.
All right, so we got a few tweets and things like that. Kieran says, interesting observation. Approximately 6% of our revenue is from trade volume. Excluding SRV2, it's 12%. I don't understand that.
Basically, it's people trading alluvials, shards, everything else, which obviously is slowing down because obviously everyone's getting things and they're working everything out. But that's higher than expected, in my opinion. I thought a lot of it, obviously a lot will come from fuel, but basically if I'm buying from you or you're buying from me or any other players, that is the revenue is 12% without the SRV2, which is massive.
Yeah, so it's really sweet to see. And here are some stats for you,
Yes,
Sam.
love this. Love this. I use this.
Huh?
I used some of this in a post, but yeah, these are really good stats.
So at the 40-hour mark, 32 ETH raw ETH sales, $100,000, 25.6 ETH in SRV2 burnt. So most of it was burnt in the 40-hour mark, not that much more since then, which is quite interesting. Fuel crates burnt 120 grand, which is quite interesting. 1.55 ETH from the royalty, which is pretty sweet, and $37,000 in Alluvium Zero credits, which I suspect is probably even higher now, but yes. So 350k total. Good. If we exclude SRV2, it doesn't look as good, but it's still pretty fantastic. So we love to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait for another week or two when he shares like all these other figures, which I'm not expecting phenomenal ones. I just want to know what's going on. Like IZ credits, I didn't think it would be anywhere near that. And that just goes to show you a small game like Alluvium Zero on the mobile. People's spend per head is massive when there's only a small amount of resources going to that. I think they're going to double down or triple down on Alluvium Zero, to be honest with you. But you know, everyone's got their jobs within the team already of what they're doing with Arena and credits. So I'm shocked. It's great. Really, I was really happy to see that personally.
Yeah, Zilbrad in the chat says that he has a friend who wanted to try Gauntlet only to use one hand and left when he couldn't skip the tutorial. I will tell you, Zilbrad, okay? I know some people have commented in there being like, a tutorial isn't going to scare people off. They're not going to uninstall the game just because of a 30-minute tutorial. I have a word to say to you guys.
Oof.
You're wrong. You're wrong. People will uninstall a game if they can't skip a 30-minute tutorial. I know because I've done it many, many times. And you know what the biggest culprit of it is? Is Pokemon. Their tutorials, I know how to throw a Pokeball at a fucking Pokemon. It's not that hard. Don't make me play through 2 hours of really crappy dialogue to play the fucking game. There's nothing more frustrating. And I totally get it. And I don't understand why people are saying it's not a big deal. Because it is, in my opinion, it is a big deal. I don't know if you agree with me, but I'm telling you right now, there are many people that will uninstall a game because of a tutorial. And I am one of, well,
over here
I don't do it that often, but I'm not a big story guy anyways, but I am one of those people.
But I think it's a lot of things as well. It's the onboarding, it's the IMX wallet, then this wallet, and then the client takes you out. It's all these little things that add up. Are they all super urgent? I wouldn't say they are right now, but when the team gets to it, they'll clean all this up and it'll be just a better experience. Compared to other Web3 games, whoosh, much better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's the interesting thing with Illuvium is people could say we don't like Illuvium all you want. It's still the most polished and the most complete Web3 game that exists right now. It just is. I don't know what to tell you. And, like, imagine if it was free to play. It would be the biggest game right now.
Yeah.
But the fact that we don't want to go bankrupt makes us evil, I'm sure. But anyways.
Talk to me in 2 years when it's, like, close to the top 10 game in the world. Thanks.
Alrighty. So, we got this one here. Whoops. Where this guy called Sam Withers has posted a video of Tiger Burrell. I don't know where you got this video from.
I was waiting for someone to ask me this. I'm just a legend. It's simple.
But I like it. I like how you can just jump off this cliff here.
How cool does that look? Imagine going into that region and just going, yup, soup ladders. Like, yeah, looks really cool.
I really like how blue it is too. There's nothing worse than like a tundra region in a game and it's like full white. You can't fucking see.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's all I've got for today. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we start to wrap this one up?
No, we did it an hour. I think you're doing a really good job. You've come through the bear market. Illuvium, everyone needs to chill. It's been a week. Come on. Things are coming. Leave the team alone. You've invested in the team. Just give them time. They hear you. They see you, you know? So I am super confident. I love the numbers that are coming out. I think more numbers would always be better, but I think we're in a great position, and I look forward to the next sort of couple of months. Use the code Storyox too.
We're in the position now where the team's wrapping up the bugs, and at this pace, they'll be done in like a week. And now we can focus on new features, enhancing gameplay, enhancing features, getting more regions out. I think that'll be really exciting. But there's a lot to be excited for. Whether or not that brings in new players, I have no idea. But I'm certainly excited for them as someone who enjoys playing the game and wants to play more of the game. And then there's things like new alluvials eventually as well. So
two things I want to add real quick. One is if the Illuvium marketing team need a hand, use me, to be honest with you. And two, I would love to see an alluvial combat video come out soon to get everyone really hyped up at the right time. Like, put Illuvium combat in, and I'll be super happy. I don't care about anyone else. The raiding and the combat, oh, love it. Anyways, do you want to do your sign-off feature as well, please? Can you do the download is complete? I really want to see that.
Oh, hold on. Gabriel, you can send it to me on Discord. You can add me. My username's just Scoriox. So, here's a question. Do you think multiplayer and Overworld combat come out at the same time, or do you think they come out separately?
This is what I would do. You have hype. It's a marketing aspect, right? What I would do is step one is when the time is right, I would bring out multiplayer for Sanctum Mesa only, right? Everyone's running around. They don't put it in the Obelisk or anything or the Overworld. Just put it in the Sanctum Mesa. That's step one. That's what I would do. And then let that hype die out after 2 weeks or so. And then say in 1 more week or 2 weeks or just dropping alluvial combat, then I would do the combat next. And then do the combat, let that die out for another month, and then introduce multiplayer and overall combat in the Obelisk regions. Because you got to hype things up. It has to be in sections. You don't bring everything out all at once. And I think we could do much better in the marketing department in that sense. But that's my opinion. What would you do?
I think the big concern for me is that I want to see multiplayer without a purpose. Now, I know people love just having a social hub. You do you. But I think that would be a big missed opportunity where you can do multiplayer where you just hang out in Sanctum Mesa, or you could take it one step further and you do like a hunting competition. It's like you jump into the overworld and there's 8 people to jump into it. I don't know what the game mode looks like, but like how hard could it be to make a game where it's like first person to find the rake and capture it wins. And they win they win some of the other people's fuel or something. I don't know. I don't know what the prize is, but like you build out something that's easy with our current infrastructure and you build that out and add it into the game. And that is exciting. I think if you can add that in with multiplayer, that would be sick. As for overworld combat, I just hope it's good. I think you have this issue where overworld combat, if you're like running around and there's like one ramfire and you just shoot him and he dies, it's not that hard. A ramfire and mega is really easy to dodge for a human player. You want to run into a batch of like 100 Karaduloks and have them all attack you. You know what I mean? Like, I hope it's engaging. That's all.
For a person who played World of Warcraft for like 12 years, 16 hours a day for 5 years straight, and was in like one of the top guilds in World of Warcraft, I have a funny feeling that the overworld combat's going to be phenomenal. And it's really obvious of how I would do it, and I assume it would be very similar to how they would do it. So let's see.
See, that's my concern. I don't think we're thinking on the same level as them. Maybe we need to write like a game feature proposal that's just like, here's a suggestion.
Shit, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty sure that they'll be alright on the right path. Like, you've got the different weapons, you'll have herds of different alluvials, you'll be able to put 1 or 2 alluvial out, you would think. You don't want too much chaos. And then you'll also see like bigger, obviously certain alluvials will run away from you, certain alluvials will attack you, some will be harder than others. That's a balancing thing. But I find that I would struggle to find that the team that is building Alluvium to F this up, I'm pretty sure they'll get it really well. And if they don't get it well on the first launch, there'll be some slight tweaks either way. But imagine a massive ramp fire. It's not going to be easy to kill. It'll be super hard. It'll be fun.
See, now here's the best part, okay? You know how I was talking before about we don't have that user acquisition yet? We don't have that viral moment. Here's what the viral moment is you let people go into the overworld and it's a competitive thing with slightly improved chances of finding alluvials or whatever like that. Like maybe Rampfire has slightly higher odds because you're going into a PvP zone, right?
Yeah.
And like your alluvials get involved in this. So you might be walking past like an Archie and it's not doing any damage to you. You take it out, it's easy. But there's some dude on top of the cliff. He sent out 2 dual Fs and they both snipe you across the map. That is your viral moment. That's your moment that people are going, I want to play this fucking game. I want to try it.
Yeah.
That is the moment that draws them into the game. There's no question in my mind about that.
Could you imagine, say the PvP world, say you go to Sanctum Mesa, right? And there's only 100 players in your area, right? And you're all fighting for similar alluvials or whatever the number is. And there's alluvials that spawn in different areas and then you see each other from the map and you've got your alluvial and it's a PvP area. So then I go and try and kill you so I can kill the Rampfire first and then you try and kill me, or you're killing the Rampfire and then I come up behind you and kill you. And like, just the amount of stuff they can do. I don't know what it costs to run a server with multiplayer, but as soon as multiplayer is in Sanctum Mesa, everyone will sort of get that taste of it and they'll want to show off hollows by then, so that'll increase market expenditure, and I think that's a really smart economic move. But that's the game I want to play. All of these things intertwined, and then after that, I don't mind. I remember playing World of Warcraft for the first time, and I was just like, this is amazing. And I know it's going to be the same feeling with Alluvium because it's real assets that you own them, and it's just taken to a whole nother level because it's a mix of different genres. So get me that game as soon as you can. I'll be traveling the world until that moment, and then I'll get it home.
I saw you selling your car.
Well, my car's sitting in a garage, and I'm like, I'll sell this for ILV tokens. I might as well, like, I'm so invested in this project because it makes sense. Like, other bull runs, I've seen tokens go up and down, and I seem to nail it decently well. But I think now people are done with the crappy projects that don't bring in revenue. They want real products. So this is why I'm all in on Alluvium, and I can see that this could be a really big thing in 5 years' time.
Absolutely, and with that, I think we can say that the download is complete. Let's wrap it up here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys learned some more about Alluvium and the latest things happening in the game. Yeah, it's been a good time. We will.
When this election started, I thought it would be mostly about abortion or maybe immigration, but things took a weird turn this week, and now it seems like the most dominant issue is Indians. As you all know,
future updates coming, what he's working on, and how he feels about the Illuvium launches.
Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna talk about the 5 most important things.
Alright, so I really enjoyed that episode. Is it the download? So Square Sam, the edition of Sam Withers, I thought was really good. I enjoyed your viewpoints. And yeah, let's listen to Illumination now. Pass.
That I think everybody in Illuvium should know. I think many beginners don't know any of these points, and even the experts in Illuvium might be surprised to find 1 or 2 things in this video that they didn't know before. Alright, first up, the bonding curve in Illuvium. This is one of the most important things for me in Illuvium, and I was so surprised on stream when I talked about it that so many people didn't know about it. So bonding curve basically means the more you capture of one illuvial, the harder it is to capture it. And after a certain while, it's gonna be impossible to catch them and they're gonna completely disappear from the overworld. At which point we're gonna get set number 2 of the illuvials, which means there's gonna be a few completely new illuvials being introduced, and a lot of the old ones are gonna get reworked with, for example, different affinities and classes. So for example, you could have a Frost Rampfire, which I would just love. But yeah, the key takeaway here is that illuvials are on a maximum supply, and at one point you're not gonna be able to capture the illuvials that we see today anymore. Alright, so tip number 2, if you are about to fight the illuvials to then capture them, before fighting them, you wanna check out their stats. So you wanna right click them, press shift, and you can see the stats. This wink is pretty good. I'm also in a stage 1 encounter, so a tier 3 illuvial is pretty good EV. It's really good expected value. I can get a lot of money back from my run here. With good stats, sure, I'm gonna go for it. Archie, really bad stats, only resistances, nothing else is maxed out. I don't really need this. And a little bonus tip here, stats only matter in the overworld combat and also in the Leviathan Arena. Leviathan Arena is the Ascendant Arena version where stats matter. In the Ascendant Arena, that's your competitive environment, no stats will matter. Every Ramfy is always going to be as strong as every other Ramfy. It's fully competitive. You just need to have the illuvials, but you don't need to have good stats like in the Leviathan Arena. But overall, saying a unit with perfect stats will be way more worth on the marketplace than it is with bad stats, especially if people start playing Leviathan and there is monetary incentives coming into Leviathan as well. Okay, tip number 3, use small shards to capture illuvials. What do I mean with this? For example, this wink, it's a tier 3 illuvial, so you would think a tier 3 shard is the right thing to do. It gives you 60%. But the thing is, a tier 3 shard might be worth, I don't know, 50 cents, but the illuvial itself maybe is only worth 60 cents. So what I would suggest to you, if it's not a holo, dark holo, something you really want, I would just go with a very small shard. For example, in this case, a tier 1 gives you 15%, or maybe a tier 2 even, that gives you 34%. The thing is, if you don't capture the illuvial, there is nothing lost. You lose this illuvial, but you don't lose the 650 energy, which is monetary value, right? You paid for that energy, you get a 4,000 energy for your full run. So you don't lose if you don't capture it. I didn't lose energy right now. I lost the shard that I used, but it was a small shard, so I didn't lose much money there. A little example, the other day I was capturing a foe, a tier 5 stage 1 illuvial. I was very excited. I used the tier 5 shard. First time, it broke. The second time, it worked. So I used 2 tier 5 shards for a foe. 2 tier 5 shards are worth 20 bucks. A foe is worth 5 to 10 bucks. So I lost basically over 10 bucks just using the wrong shards. And if I would just have used a small shard, maybe I wouldn't have captured it, but then I still have all my energy and I can still, for example, farm resources, mine rocks, shoot down plants, and so on, because you don't lose energy when fighting. Another tip here that I can give you is always bring a team, bring illuvials, at least a lot of them that you actually want to level up to fuse them. Because then when you don't capture an illuvial, you just went into the fight to fight, you at least got some experience from it. Which ties into our 4th point right here, which is once you're out of fuel, you're down to 0 fuel or down to 500 fuel, 300 fuel, so you know the region is gonna close in soon, you have to leave some. Fight every illuvial you find. Because every illuvial you find and that you fight will give you XP, and XP in that sense is worth money. Because every run, what can you get? You can use your 4,000 energy to spend on illuvials and resources, and you can get experience. So if you use your illuvials till the end, till they cannot fight anymore and fight everything on the map, this doesn't cost any energy as long as you don't capture illuvials, and it's gonna give you experience. Experience is monetary value, because if you have seen it or not, for example, one Ador is worth around $5 right now, but an Adorius is maybe $100. Because all that experience, that takes a lot of time, effort, and money to level them up. So get the full value, especially out of higher stage runs, by doing all the fights you can until your Illuvials are KO. At which point you would have to use a consumable to restore them, a ring nut, but this again is monetary value, so maybe it's not worth it. And then lastly, my fifth tip is don't stress too much about FOMO, getting in early, getting all the Illuvials and so on, because fuel prices right now are dropping. Why are they dropping? Because land owners are providing fuel and landowners are still building up their land plots. It was originally planned to have land released like a month before the main game. This wasn't possible. It was released with the full game, and now landowners are still building up their fuel production. At which point the supply will increase, so the price will lower. Also, there have been some zero updates, which even increase the fuel production even more, so you will be able to buy fuel cheaper soon. So what I'm doing right now, I'm stopping stage 3 runs for the moment. I just want to play a lot but don't pay too much, and I wait with stage 3 runs till we have Crimson Waste, I can get my ramp fee, and until fuel prices have dropped a little bit. And then lastly, a word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Illumination, as every day. Thank you very much for your continuous support. If you want to support the channel, if you like what you're seeing, if you want to support the content, feel free to go to account settings on your Illuvium.io homepage profile right here, and then you find a tab that's called referral code. And if you enter my referral code PASS right here, this is supporting me as a content creator. It doesn't take anything away from you. Thank you very much. And as always, have a wonderful day. See you in the next one. Peace out. Alrighty guys, here it comes. The 5 things I think every beginner should know in Illuvium. I'm gonna be covering all the 5 different games in Illuvium, and we're gonna give one.
Okay. Moving 0. Leveling up and profiting in stage 3 runs. Alright, let's see.
Free from Play and Earn Games. So, boys and ghouls, welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play and earn games on the blockchain, such as Illuvium. And in today's video, I just wanted to go through and spend some time testing out a theory from one of our fellow Web3 content creators, Bulldog, who recently did a video on profitability in stage 3, and I wanted to see if we could put that to the test, right? Look at Illuvium stage 3 battles and specifically see, can we level up our account and our, basically our Illuvials, our gear, our resources, and basically do that while breaking even or making a little bit of money from stage 3 runs. So we're going to give this a try here in this video and put that to the test. I'm going to link Bulldog's video in the video description below if you're curious to see that content on Illuvium as well. And before we hop into the run and I'll go through my prep and the plan here, just as a content creator, if you want to support this channel within Illuvium, you can enter the referral code of TALES, T-A-L-E-S, in your profile settings under your referral, and that alliance code certainly helps out the channel and allows us to create more content. With that being said, what I wanted to do is talk about how we've prepped for our first stage 3 run in Illuvium. Specifically here, we can see we have some flint caps. We have flint caps for experience, for leveling our alluvials that we're going to take here. We also have a few ring nuts here as well, farmed out of tier 0 for free in case we need to extend our XP farming in stage 3 for as long as possible. That's definitely a strategy I'd recommend if you're going to do a stage 3 or a stage 2 or stage 1 run, is have ring nuts available from stage 0, which are free, allowing you to make sure you maximize your XP gain on those runs that you're paying for. So in addition to the consumables of the flint cap for XP leveling, we also have gumbo drops to make sure we're able to do damage. And we also crafted a drone upgrade here, which allows us to get a 4% chance to duplicate ore, and we have a random ability of 1% chance to duplicate essence. So hopefully that'll help in this stage 3 run. Maybe we get an ore duplication or 2 during this run. Now from an alluvial perspective, what we've done is we've put the best team that we've been able to gather so far for this stage 3. So we're going to try and win some battles here. We have a team that consists of 2 predators, a tier 1 stage 2 Shukurl, a tier 1 stage 3 exalted gorilla, which we're able to fuse. We have a dash tier 4 stage 1 rogue. We have a hollow tier 1 stage 3 gyro that we're able to fuse, and we have our last 2 units here, a tier 1 stage 2 Tiruo and a tier 3 stage 2 Quinks. Now that's our main
So this is really exciting. I love finding these hollows. It really gives me a charge because I know I can get some value from it. Let's see if it has good stats like the other one. Nope. Okay, so weak stats, that's fine. Not ideal, but still well worth it. Really nice. This gives me 2 shots at it. And I am going to use consumables. I just put the 4 ball on the tank and the gumbo drop on the fighter. Staying at 32 to be above 25 to get 2 throws at it, up 62%. 14% chance of failure.
Your download is complete.
Okay. XP so low. So cool. Come on, baby. Get this hollow. Stress-free first try, love it. Alright, let's continue to listen to this gentleman talk about his stage 3 runs and if it's profitable for him.
team that we're going to try and use.
This is Tales from the Cryptmancer on YouTube.
Use to win battles here. We also have 2 alluvials on the side here. The Chukrul and a T-Roa, a second one of those each that we're going to use to level up and just get experience so that we can eventually get to stage 3 on those units. And I should probably check just to make sure we have our shards. I don't know. Go back to Sanctum Mesa here to make sure we have any, if we have any shards to craft real quick. Make sure we have shards to catch stuff with in case we run across something worthwhile. Shards here. Looks like we can craft an uncommon here. Let's go ahead and add that to the mix. And then we'll head back and go into this run. We'll talk about our strategy once we get there. Let me refresh. We bought our fuel for this run. It's 1,350 Krypton, which we bought from the market here, and that cost $11.35. So what we're gonna try and do is in this run, gather enough resources that we can sell back to basically get that $11.35 back, plus have something left over to show for our time here in stage 3. So let's go ahead and do it, and once we hop into the stage here, I'll talk about what our strategy is going to be. Now we can go into Brightland Steppes, or we can go into Abyssal Basin. You know, Brightland Steppes will have air alluvials. We need basically a Vermilia to add to our team at some point, which would be nice to get from Brightland Steps. Abyssal Basin, a rake would be nice to get from Abyssal Basin. So it's going to be hard to say which one is better to go to for our first trip. I guess it's a coin toss. Let's go to Abyssal Basin. Maybe we can get a rake here and save us some money there. Let's go stage 1 Abyssal Basin, and actually stage 2, stage 3 Abyssal Basin here, and let's see what we can get. So off we go. $11.35 was just burnt from existence here from our account in fuel, and we're going to see if we can extract that value in the marketplace out of this run. Now, because we're paying real money to play the game here at this point, we're going to want to be as efficient as possible with both our time, our resources, and our energy. So basically the strategy that I'm going to employ here is we're going to focus on hitting basically yellow rocks, which will give us access ideally to gemstones to sell, blue rocks, which will give us a few plants for essences. We're going to target flint caps and gumdrops for the plants that we're going to harvest to try and get some essences. We're going to map our Ergon rifts with our teleport beacons, and then we're also going to search for the big rock formations to mine, and last but not least, we're going to farm and search out as many alluvials as possible, and that's going to be our game plan for this particular run. Let's see, take a look what the map looks like from a heat map perspective. It's all red to start. That's good. Right around the starting point here. Let's go ahead and head east, see what we see. Again, we're going to want to prioritize yellow rocks, blue rocks, and specific plants here. And we're going to take our time. Got a yellow rock over here. We'll just take our time and grab this. What are we going to get here? We got a rare water gem out of that. And definitely what I would say is if you're going to do a run in a stage 3 or any stage that has, you know, significant cost to it from your account, take your time. Do it methodically and don't rush it. And that's going to be the strategy I would recommend. We got a resplendent earth gem there on our second yellow rock. That's pretty good. That should give us some value here. We've got a blue rock here, which will give us hopefully some shards. Let's take a look. We got 3 rare shards and a resplendent shard. So we're already getting some good stuff here to start with this resource mining. And yeah, we'll see if it continues to go well here. The first stage 3 run in the books. Let's see what we got coming out of this. So let's walk through the data and see if it was indeed possible to level up our accounts while profiting in a stage 3 run here. And if you follow my YouTube channel previously for Splinterlands content, you know I really like to use data, and we're going to use this here for Illuvium as well. And I think you're going to find this very interesting. So here was our stage 3 run here. And we were able to capture a hollow wink, was the best thing we were able to get from an alluvial perspective. We had a chance to catch an Ador, but we lost the battle. It had damage modifications, and it was a very high mastery point battle, around like 700 mastery points. We just weren't able to win the fight, so we weren't able to attempt to catch the Ador. Now, when we look at the data, realize that the Ador, it sells for like $3 to $4 more than this hollow wink, so that would have been an extra $3 or $4 in potential revenue for us. You can see here we got some gems, we got some shards, we got some essences, and what we did is we broke it out into a spreadsheet, which you can see here, and The cost of the run was $11.35 in fuel. What we have here of
Just pausing real quick, show what I'm doing. So I bring up the mission or the milestone that I'm working on, which is Tier 0 Stage 1 weapons. Scroll down, I do it all in order. You can see that I missed the nature glove. So we're going to start with the nature glove. And I'll just keep this on the other screen. But armaments, scroll down to nature glove, click forge. I need the air staff. Craft my ingots. Earth staff. Fire staff. And so on. I can listen again.
is list everything that we caught in the middle here, as well as the floor price at the time of the video. If we are to sell everything at the floor price, we would have sold that for $12.98. All the NFTs that we got on this run, and that would have been a profit of $1.63, right? That's after fees, and that's after everything. Now, you can see on the right here, we also got a number of ores that we could, in the future, craft ingots for use in the game for our own purposes, for drones or for gear, or we could craft ingots and sell those on the market as well. So we got all of those that aren't taken into account here in the profit. And we have consumables that we can use in future battles as well here, some flint caps, some gumbo drops and stuff like that. So with the stage 3 run, we're able to profit $1.63. I wanted to test this a little bit more as well, so I ran a subsequent stage 3 run later on there, and what we got is we had a pretty bad run, to be honest with you. The best alluvial that we were able to capture here was a hollow slap-in, and we really didn't get really high quality gems or shards on this run. And if you look at the data here, this run cost us $11.21 worth of fuel, and if you look at what we were able to farm out of stage 3 in this particular case was $7.88. So in this particular stage 3 run, we were able to, well, we basically lost $3.33. So there's variance in the stage 3 runs. You're not going to profit on every run, and that's kind of the fun of it, if I can call it that, because there is the element of chance. You don't know if you're going to turn around a corner and run into a dark hollow, stage 3 or hollow tier 5 alluvial, or get, a Tatooine, right? So you just don't know what you're going to get in these runs sometimes, and there's a element of chance here. We did get a number of ores and consumables as well here, but if we were to do this run, well, we would have lost money here. But I want to show you a video here of the third stage 3 run that we did here for this study. I think you're going to find it very interesting. So here we are in our final stage 3 run here. We had marked an encounter earlier on in the run with that pin on the map, and we're looking for the encounter and we can't find it. It disappeared off the map. We did find one encounter quite a bit farther south, and we happened to scan it, and there it is. He scanned it, and that was the encounter we're looking for. It's got a rampy there. It was a little confusing because the encounter said water encounter, and it was very far away from where we originally shot the alluvial and came back to it later on. But we did run into a rampy in this third stage 3 run, and that's a big deal because if we are to win this battle and somehow capture this rampy, the floor price of that rampy is over $40 right now. So that is a very valuable tier 5. But you can see here the mastery points for this battle are huge. We're talking like, I guess 700 plus, and it's going to be a tough battle. They've got a Rampy. It looks like they've got a Ram Fire here. They've got Nodorius. This is going to be a tough battle for us to win, and we pulled out pretty much all the stops here. You can see we're setting up our strategy and our tactics here to hit pretty hard that back line, and then we're trying to strategically figure out where we're going to place the Quinks and the Vermila here. For this particular run, you can see that we're able to get some leveled up units here. We're running a Jakundi stage 3 now, along with our Exalted Gorilla. We're able to run Tibaruko stage 3 as well. We're able to get our dash to a rake, and the way we're able to do all of that is by farming experience in the previous 2 stage 3 runs, using flint caps, using the gems that we had gotten in those runs to be able to fuse those. So our team, after just 2 stage 3 runs, is much improved, and you can't really discount that. When we talk about profitability, sure, there's profitability potentially in running these stage 3 runs for selling items, but there's also just the ability to level up your teams, your alluvials, and your gameplay here in Alluvium with these runs as well through experience. You can see here we're kitting out all of our damage dealers with gumbo drops. We have plenty of those from our runs. We're putting flora balls on the Quinks and the Vermila. And you know, we're still leveling up things like we got an extra dash in there just to level up here in stage 3 to get to an Umbre eventually. So we're being conscientious on how we're playing the game. There's a lot of strategy here, and it's really an interesting concept here. It's a really fun part of the game is, you know, how do you build your teams? How do you, for Overworld at least, be able to do stage 3 runs and get them to a point where they're very capable of winning battles like this. And then we haven't even talked about how you can use these same units in Ascendant Arena and use that game mode to win prizes and do the leaderboard there as well. So Alluvium has a lot going for it. We're not going to talk necessarily about it too much in this video. We'll do future videos on it. But here's the battle playing out here. Those gumdrops are super helpful here for us to chew through that team. And you can see we just totally wiped that team out pretty quickly. And we had over 250 mastery points left over to capture this Rampy. So you can see here we've got epic shards, 34% chances here. Because it only costs 50 mastery points to try and make this attempt, we've got basically 6 attempts to capture this alluvial. So my strategy was basically I was going to throw 3 epic shards at this, and then if that didn't work, I was going to use our trick that we had in our other video to go out in the marketplace and buy a resplendent shard. Come back in the game and start throwing resplendent shards one at a time to catch this. Resplendent shards are about $10 a shard, and you know, a $40 alluvial we could probably spend 2 or 3 resplendent shards and still make a profit here. So this is our second epic shard, 34% chance here, and we bricked that as well. This is our third and final epic shard attempt here on this Rampy, and then if this doesn't work, we're going to the marketplace and buying a cured resplendent shard, coming in the game, trying to get this capture and trying to get this done. We've got a chance here on this epic shard, tier 5, $40 alluvial, and bam, we got it. Epic shard, 34% chance, that seems to be the sweet spot for tier 5s, honestly, if you can capture them with epics with multiple chances, because resplendent shards are not cheap. They're about close to $10 a shard, and still not a guaranteed chance there. So coming out of that third stage 3 run, the final kind of test here for us to run for this video, you can see we got a ramp fee, we ended up getting a dash, we got resplendent shards both on the shard side as well as on the gem side, and we got a ruination essence as well. So we got a lot of good stuff on this particular run. If we look at the profitability here, you know, we had fuel of $11.15 at the time of this run. We threw 3 epic shards at the ramp fee to catch that. Now, we just spent the Hyperion to cure those shards. We didn't actually buy epic shards at the market, so that was $3.96 worth of Hyperion. So the cost of this run was $15.11, essentially, with fuel and epic shards. You can see here with all the stuff that we were able to gather here, obviously ramp fee being a major component here, $40 for that. The Ruination Essence is $4.20. The Dash is $3.08 on the current market right now. Floor. And all these floor prices honestly are selling quite rapidly. I've been making a number of sales throughout the last week since the game has launched. No problems there. I'll probably do a future video on analytics of the marketplace and how Illuvium sales are going in the future here on the channel. But you can see here the total sales here on the floor prices is $51.82 from that run, which is a total profit of $36.71 for this run. You can see here we got a bunch of other ores as well in this run, and consumables in addition to all the XP for our alluvials. So yeah, I mean, you know, $36.71 in profit there. We've got a loss of $3.33 there, and our first run we had a profit of $1.63. So what is the verdict here? Can you level up while also profiting money-wise by running stage 3 runs in Illuvium? And the answer is it depends. We showed here through these 3 runs we made over $30 in profit on these 3 runs. A lot of that was in that ramp fee, but you know, that's kind of the luck of the draw, the chance. Even without the ramp fee, with the first 2 runs we were only down like about $1.70 for running 2 stage 3 runs after possibility of selling all those items. You know, plus we got all those ores and the XP. So, you know, I think it's definitely very possible to at least run stage 3 currently in the current market and kind of break even, or tend to break even with variance probably fairly easily, with the potential to also if you hit some nice things like ramp fees or hollows or dark hollows, get some quite nice profits as well in the current environment for Illuvium. Now, this is not financial advice, obviously do your own research, but I wanted to share here my experiences with this. I ran these 3 stage 3 runs, and honestly, coming out of this, I'll be running more stage 3 runs and continuing to level up my account here, because there isn't as much risk here as you might think. There's definitely, it takes work to do the stages from a time perspective. It takes work to then sell those items on the marketplace. So, you know, that takes time and effort. But for your time and effort, if you enjoy that part of the game, which I do, it's part of the game I like with Splinterlands as well, doing the rental markets, doing the sales and flipping cards and all that stuff. So I like that. That's kind of like the game within the game. It definitely exists here within Illuvium as well. So I think stage 3 runs are profitable even for those on a budget or who don't want to really pay to play Web3 games. There's a possibility here to do kind of tread water and level up your account without risking too much capital here. So one thing I'll leave you with here, if you want to add your favorite content creator to your profile under the Alliance code, you can do so under your profile and your account settings here. You can see here I am supporting Bulldog. He's also another great content creator on the Web3 side, but if you would like to support me and my Illuvium content, you can put in the referral code there, TALES, T-A-L-E-S. It helps the channel out, and until next time, keep stacking those stats.
Good morning, everybody. It is August 2nd. I did want to start the video by talking about the fact that yesterday I named
the ranked Illuvium Ascendant Arena. Pokemon World. What is Illuvium? Everything you need to know about this IMX game. Intro to Illuvium Blockchain Gaming. Can't fail now. Discovering Illuvium. How does the fuel market work? Well, we might be pretty well through everything in the last 24 hours that came up. That looks interesting. So let's find an AMA here. 2 weeks ago. Let's see if there's anything in the last week. Nope.
A week away. So now myself and Sam Withers, which you can see right below there, will ask some seriously important questions that we compiled from the community and ourselves about the current and future ambitions for Illuvium, and hopefully get some questions from the viewers at the very end. Now, to kick this off, Kieran Warwick, sell me Illuvium in under 60 seconds.
Sure. So Illuvium is not just a game, it's a universe, and it's made up of 3 different games in 3 different genres. There is an open world RPG where we're sort of tugging on those nostalgic strings of old Pokemon fans. We can go around these open worlds and capture these creatures. We call them alluvials. And the idea is to capture them all. There's 200 to collect. At the same time, you're doing things like crafting your weapons, your armor, and basically you're building up the best team you can to bring it into our second game, which is Illuvium Arena. In Arena, that's where you put yourself to the test in terms of strategic battles. If you've ever played an auto battler, very similar to that, and the cool thing there is you're using your alluvials that you've caught in the overworld or that you bought from another player on the open marketplace. The third game is Illuvium Zero, which kind of sits above and is what powers the entire ecosystem's economy. The players in that game will build up their city complex, they'll generate fuel. That fuel is required for every game in the ecosystem. And the really, really cool thing is it's an ever-expanding universe. So every single game that we develop over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years will fit inside of that ecosystem. It'll utilize the same economy, and it'll utilize the same assets. And yeah, it's one of the first games to ever be interconnected with so many different titles and genres and giving players real world ownership.
And I've even been playing the Illuvium Zero test, and I've fallen in love with the game all over again, and I can't wait to get involved with all of the games at the same time. It's going to be awesome. Now, guys, I showed Sam a little video I've made beforehand, and he said we should kick off the stream with this video. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the start of the Illuvia Rap.
I wanna be the best in Illuvium's quest. To conquer them all, yeah, that's my test. Right from me, y'all, character, lura, card the locks, with the wrist, young, million, ray, lead, character, lura, man, nice, my catch, I'm training, battle them all, Illuvium. I'll explore the layers of far and wide. Release from my hand, the power that's inside. Ace, quake, clink, for 9, 7, cinch, break.
If you guys like that, I will be releasing that as soon as I possibly can. But Sam, take it away. What's our first question?
That's a hit of a video. Just to give the viewers a bit of perspective here, we have got everything structured, so we'll stick with certain categories. So first up, we were going to talk about bots. I know it's a very popular topic in the Discord, but we know we can't remove all the bots. That's impossible. We have seen some scripts going around on, I think it's WeChat, on some Chinese groups or something like that online. So I think some people in the community just were concerned about how Illuvium is tackling the bots. So what is the best way to go about preventing all these bots? Because there's real money involved and everything else.
Well, it's a little bit of a tricky one because I can't speak too much about what we're doing to combat the bots, because then it becomes easier for them to be able to get around the different strategies that we have to make sure that they're excluded from the ecosystem. So, but what I can say is people can rest assured that we aren't going to just sit there and say, whoop-de-doo, you know, bots are allowed. Obviously, one big thing is the fact that very soon, in 8 days, they're going to have to start paying, which I know a lot of people have said, well, that's good for the economy and that's good for the DAO because we'll be making a lot of money off these bots, but it's overall not good for the end player. And I hope that Illuvium isn't just saying, well, they're paying, so screw it, let's just allow them. And that isn't the case. So more recently, in the last few days, we have been working with one of our infrastructure partners to turn off any player that's using flagged data farms, where basically we know that if you are using these services, there's a very, very high chance that you are a bot. And it was pretty interesting when we did it. We saw the amount of API calls go down tremendously, and that's purely because, you know, these bots, instead of a normal player maybe making 200, 300 calls in a minute, these guys are doing, you know, 5,000, and we saw that literally drop off a cliff. And a whole bunch of people said, hey, what's going on? You know, I can't access the game now. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, are you using one of these services? And yes, it has the ability to kind of sweep some people that are using VPNs. My advice there would be, if you are using a VPN and you want to continue doing that, switch where the VPN location is, and you should be okay. But there's a reason people use these data farms. It's a lot cheaper for them, and so yeah, that's taken away quite a large chunk of these bots.
Amazing. And then I guess coming to a bit of the past here with season 1, you guys are obviously looking through the airdrop farming situation from the previous events. That's why you're going through, I guess, meticulously through all of this.
Yes, yeah. There's again, people are like, why don't you just send out the ILV? There is a reason. There is a reason why we haven't sent out that ILV. The good news there is you might be waiting a little bit longer, but once we have filtered through all of the cheaters in that first season and in the second season, it's very likely that that amount you were going to get is going to go up in value, which is obviously good. And that vesting start date hasn't changed. So theoretically, yeah, maybe some people would have claimed immediately on day one, but if your plan was to maximize that airdrop and get all of the ILB that you could, it's not like you need to wait additional time based on us taking these extra days to make sure that we're only paying out to legitimate people.
Yeah, I think I was just gonna say, I think that's all good news, and I'm looking forward to when people get paid out. And a lot of people are very excited, but it's good to see that the team is taking the security side of things very, very seriously, which is important to a lot of community members. So, with that, we'll move on to Gauntlet now. I know a lot of people are excited for the Gauntlet game mode, many of which have never played it before. But the first thing I've got is this, and this is an interesting question. Besides cosmetics, how do you plan on encouraging ownership and alluvial utility, given Gauntlet has the potential to become a great free onboarding tool and ownership is optional?
So there's two things there, and this is like what I call the great debate between the three brothers and probably a sprinkling of Johnny and...
Just going to pause Kieran there real quick. So I have completed the first kind of milestone on this account, which is forged tier 0 weapons, all of them. They are all completed now. That's 7,500 airdrop points. And I will be moving on to doing the stage 2 tier 0 weapons and looking to sell those. That is the plan. Let me just see if the milestones have updated. I doubt it's this fast, but I'm going to check. Yes, it has. So I'll go ahead and show that. That was quick. So see, first 7,500 airdrop points. This was day 2, maybe hour 5. So we've officially earned on this free-to-play account. Won't know how much until the airdrop closes and we get a number, but that is 7,500 points. We're going to move on to this 22,500 point tier 0 stage 2 weapon. And once these are crafted, I will look on the marketplace and start selling some, because I really do want to get into the stage 1 runs. I feel like we can make a lot more money in the stage 1 runs versus these stage 0 runs. Okay, let's listen to Kieran again.
And Danny over the last 3-4 years. The reason that Arena was built in the way that it was always because we were very, very worried about that needing to have utility for alluvials and immediately, right? And the first thing that and I was one of those people that said we need utility. You know, it has to. There has to be some kind of functionality there. And over time, it was about 12 months ago, I realized, you know what? Like, if this game can't get the from a game design perspective, if it's just not retaining the users and we're not able to get people super excited about it because of the way that the design is trying to integrate the ownership of alluvials, we're screwed anyway, right? Like it doesn't matter, right? If we have 500 people playing the game and that's it, well, only 500 people are going to be looking for alluvials. It doesn't have that tie-in anyway. It doesn't have that effect. And so there was two things there. The first one was that I realized, people are going to play Overworld purely to collect, right? They just want to collect things, right? Like there isn't any other collection game out there where you're trying to collect all the creatures so you can go and be stronger in a better game. You're just collecting because you want to complete the entire storyline, you want to capture all of the creatures, and away you go. And that sense of accomplishment is kicking the box, right? And so that was the first thing. And then the second was once we realized that, okay, people are going to do it anyway, but we still want this interoperability between the different games, right? Like that is the core fundamentals of Illuvium is that uniqueness that we have. And how we do it is you get a taste of the game in terms of just being free to play, not requiring any wallet. You can sign up using Passport, where it's the non-custodial, and you don't need any alluvials, you don't need any NFTs, and that's your gateway to start loving the game. See, if you're a TFT player, you're like, wow, this is cool, it's really similar, way better graphics, I can zoom into the characters, got a few different differences that people might say is really interesting. But then you've got another game mode, which is the Leviathan Arena. And that's where you bring in your alluvials, and the higher the stats of the alluvials, the more powerful it's going to be. And so when you pull that card, if you have a Ramfire, you're like, yes, I've got a Ramfire, now it's going to be so much stronger than my opponent if he doesn't have a Ramfire. Or if his Ramfire's got really shitty stats versus mine that's got awesome stats, and I'm building towards that final state of my team having Ramfire in it, I've got a huge advantage, right? And so it's really the gateway into this second mode, which was always the case. But then on top of that, things like leaderboards and tournaments, we're going to be heavily incentivizing people to play the Leviathan mode. And it's kind of cool, right? And I put a tweet out about this recently where there's two types of players that are going to go into Leviathan. Because a big argument that a lot of people have been saying for years and years and years is, well, I'm not a whale, so I'm not going to go and play Leviathan. But the cool thing is, even if you don't have a crazy amount of alluvials in your deck and they're not the highest stats and all that kind of stuff, you can still win, right? It's unlikely based. If you've got two people that are the exact same skill level, the person that's got the stacked team is going to win. But if you've got someone that's been training really hard and got quite skillful in the game, and you're coming up against a whale who's super cocky and is like, I'm going to smash you, and I've got all of these alluvials, it's not guaranteeing that you're going to win. So that challenge of being like, well, I'm going to go into Gauntlet, and I don't have this huge deck, it also makes it really exciting, because if you beat someone, it's like, huh, sucked it. You know, you're emoting on them. You're like, I didn't even have a team when I beat you. So it creates this this competitive nature that I think is going to be a lot more people are going to play it than you think, just purely because both are there. And I know for me, I'm you know, I will probably end up playing both of them the same amount of time.
I think it's going to be exciting to watch, to be honest with you. I guess on July 25th, if people don't know the launch date, that's when it all unfolds. But just circling back to the leaderboards, as it's an important thing for a lot of the players, is there a certain amount of reward you guys have planned? Are you distributing different leaderboards with the, I guess, the ILB token? How do you see all the leaderboards play out?
We want to see what things look like at launch before we start the arena leaderboards again, before we start waiting, you know, versus the standard mode versus the Leviathan mode. And once we get a sense of what revenues are like and what retention is like and what players are playing which version, that's when we'll start looking at incentivizing people. But the goal there will be that we want to incentivize people enough to say, I want to go and play Leviathan, because playing Leviathan means that you're going to sit there and you're about to win a battle, and maybe someone gets like an Archelon or whatever, and they actually hold that card. You're going to be like, God, yeah, like, how did he pull that? And you're going to be thinking, well, I got mine, but I don't hold that alluvial. We want you to go back to the marketplace. We want you to go back into Overworld and think, you know what? Like, if I'm going to play Leviathan, I can't go in there with this potential chance of not having, of drawing an alluvial that I don't own, because then I'm going to get wrecked. You kind of, it forces you to go, well, I'll get that one. And then you're like, well, I'm building for a different team here. There's like, it's so much different than Ascendant, where everyone's like, okay, this is the strongest comp, so I'm going to build to that. They do it pre-game, they do it in the team builder, and everyone's playing the same thing. That doesn't exist anymore. It's so dynamic, it's so fast-paced, you don't have a choice. So unless you're really, really skillful, someone like me is going to go back and be like, well, I just can't risk it. I'm just going to get all 200 alluvials, and that's it. And so that's why I'm really not worried about, you know, are people going to think that there's no utility for the alluvials? I think you'll see very quickly that there is.
Yeah, and I think another really good question came up in the chat, because people really want to know the specifics of it. Is Fizzo asked, will leaderboard rewards just be airdrop points for the first 5 months, or will you be handing out ILV like we have in the past?
I think we'll do a combination of both.
Okay. Sounds good. So after that, we've only got one Alluvium Beyond question for you today. When Wave 3?
So Wave 3 was fully wrapped up about 3 weeks ago. I think Roger's team completed that last alluvial. It's actually, this may be a leak, but it was actually Apon. It was Aaron's alluvial, and so it can go out at any time. So at this stage, from my chats with the council, we've always been looking at around about September. It gives us, we don't want to muddy the waters with launch, and we also don't want to wait too long, where I'm a avid Beyond player, and for me, I'm like, why did we wait at all? Like, just give me the goddamn packs. I want more. And so we're trying to balance that out, and we think that around about mid to late September makes sense.
Perfect. I guess all the Alluvium Beyond players, there you go. You've got some rough dates in there as well. We're going to skip to Alluvium 0. Including upper management, how many people are currently working on Alluvium 0? We've seen the new updates. I like them. There's been mixed feelings here and there with bugs, but that's bound to happen. But speaking of, how many people from Alluvium actually work on Alluvium 0 resources-wise?
Are we excluding artists? Because that kind of, like, there's
I
so many
wouldn't. Yeah, that's too complicated at that point, because it touches a lot of hands. But I guess resources-wise, minus your artistry and everything else.
There's 6 in total. There's 1 product manager. There's 1 product owner. That was Johnny. He's now left. So we've replaced that product owner, and we're going to announce that pretty soon. I'm really G'd up about who we've chosen to be the product owner. He's been working at Alluvium for, I think, 3 years plus now. And he just came out of the woodwork, and it's kind of surprising, but also not, because he's always been like, why aren't we doing this, and why can't we do this better? But it's very like, doesn't want to get like too involved if there's other product owners. And now that there's no product owner, it's like, can we just do this? Like, let's just introduce this feature. Let's make this better. The economy needs to be fixed here. And so I'm really excited about announcing that. But yeah, it's about 8 in total, I would say, including product owners.
Yeah, and I noticed so many upgrades and changes that came with Alluvium 0, especially the art. It looks better than it ever has before. So on from that, how are mega cities coming along? Are you still on track for the timeline of 8 to 12 weeks post-launch?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be an issue with that. Just being completely honest, there's been a lot. We're very focused, or that team is very focused on bug fixing at the moment. that's the main thing. We want it to be really polished once we get to release. We're pretty much done in terms of that now, but it's obviously an ongoing thing. Then once we release, there is going to be a small break that team is having because they've been going super hard, like all the teams. Once they get back from break, they will start working on mega cities. The good thing is the feature set has been completely scoped out. We've got all the requirements. They know exactly what they need to build, and yeah, we definitely should hit the 8 to 12 weeks. Plus, we just added a couple of extra developers into that team.
Amazing. Now, you're a large land holder yourself. I think you own something like 200 land plots, give or take.
Yeah.
Have the economy team worked out, you're at the point where we're obviously nearly at launch, but what each tier, how much fuel is generating? Have you got a rough idea, or is this sort of what you're going to be working out over the next 7 days once you get all the data and feedback?
So, what I've always told the economy team and the Illuvium Zero team is I think a 2-year payback period makes sense. Now, obviously that can fluctuate. The price of fuel has a top rail, but it doesn't have a bottom rail. So now based on all of the projections and modeling that those teams have done, they have gotten it as close to 2 years as possible. And that's 2 years based on the average land price purchase. So there were a few stupid people like me. I think at one point I bought a land plot at as soon as it dropped, just because I'd been up for like 24 hours or something. And I bought 2 plots at like 20 ETH, which is like 80 grand. That's obviously not the average price of the tier 4 plot. So whatever that average is across those tiers, we figure that out, and then we're going for that 2-year payback period.
Oh, that sounds good. Two years ROI on land is very comfortable, but
Yeah, and I mean, look, at 2 years for an asset, obviously you still own the principal asset. So that if you've got a 2-year payback period on that, it's very, very healthy what you're earning there. And so I would assume that the principal price of your land is going to go up. You have the ability to say, okay, after 2 years, I'm going to sell that now or keep it because, you know, it's generating a ton of income for me. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Obviously, things can change, right? Like if things go parabolic back, you know, when the bull market starts, and if we do our job and get tons and tons of players in, that can go up. But again, I would assume that we'll either sell more land plots at that point, or introduce some kind of other mechanic. But yeah, I think 2 years is fair.
yeah, I think the next thing is that we know you have a lot of land plots, and even Sam here has a ton of land plots. What is the news on the renting platform for Illuvium Zero? Last I personally remember, Polemos was working on this, but we haven't really heard that a whole lot about all that.
Yeah, so we have a weekly chat with them. It is being built. They are very, very close. We actually had a demo of their rental platform. There's 2 things that they're building. They're building secondary wallet functionality that allows essentially someone like Sam to say, I don't have 20 hours in the day for me to go and collect alluvials, but I also don't trust going and seeding 100 different wallets with $500 each, because what if they run off with it or whatever like that. So it's basically a permissioned secondary wallet that allows Sam to control things like selling of fuel, which they won't be able to do, selling of alluvials, they won't be able to fuse unless you allow it, right? Like you can toggle the admin permissions to say yes if you do want to allow your one of your people to go out and fuse 2 ram fights together, 3 ram fights together, great. But it's completely up to you. So that's the first functionality. That is going to take a little bit longer to build, but in terms of the rental stuff, it's we got a demo. It's pretty much there. So I don't know if it's going to be ready exactly on launch, but at the same time, I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. Just purely because Leviathan isn't going to be out for Gauntlet on launch. So those people that I was talking about, potentially, let's say we have a tournament and you can't afford to go and have all 200 alluvials, their system makes it really, really easy for you to go and rent out the 30 or 40 alluvials that you're missing. You only pay a small amount compared to what they're actually valued at on the market. You then go win your tournament, come back, give the alluvials back to their rightful owner. They're happy because they were doing nothing with them. You're happy because you just won the tournament.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, that's good news for me personally. I assume other landholders would be stoked about having that feature if they have multiple lands. I'm going to sort of split the, I would say, community or people watching this. There was a question that come up. What would your thoughts be changing the land split from 5% of all rev divs to 10%? Is this an idea? Is it something you're just like, no way? Because obviously that other 5% has to come from rev divs. What are your thoughts on changing anything like this in the future?
This is actually the first time that, crazy things have been proposed in that landholders chat. I wouldn't be surprised if I read 50% at one stage, but let's just say this is the first time officially that I've been asked this question. So, I go with what the people want, right? Like, I'm a big holder in Illuvium across pretty much every single asset that exists, including the token. I vote just like you guys do, and I would leave that up to the community. If they want to increase it to 10%, great. If they don't, I'm also okay with that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Very political.
So with that, we'll move on to missions and the mission dashboard. We don't have too many questions here, but the first one is that we assume that, like with preseason 2, we will have daily, weekly, monthly missions and stuff as we move into mainnet season 1. But there are so many missions on the board right now, and the community has expressed some concern that it might be a bit overwhelming. Currently, there are, I think someone said over 1,000. I don't think there are that many, but there are a lot of missions on the mission dashboard. Will missions come out on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Will new milestones be added, or was any of this for testing purposes, or will it look the same as it does now on the mainnet?
Yeah, so a lot of these missions are generative. So a lot of it came down to testing. We are going to get a little bit more involved with like manually crafting these missions once we get to mainnet. I do agree, it is a little bit overwhelming. So that amount is likely to be reduced over time. So it's, just a lot more progressive and not just like, where do I even start? And that will develop over time, over the next sort of like 2, 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah, amazing. I think we spoke about bots earlier on, but still in regards to the mission side of things, I believe tier 0, like capturing alluvials or the weapons and the suits and everything else there, bots can sort of, I guess, gamify tier 0. Will they still get, I guess, mission points or points for the airdrops in regards to this, or is, yeah?
They will, and look, they might be swept up in some of our clearings where we say, you guys are banned and none of that ILV will get paid out. If we can clearly see that they are cheating and using scripts and stuff like that, then they'll be excluded. What we don't want to do is we've got to remember that, yes, we want to combat bots, but we also have tier 0 regions. We have tier 0 alluvials as a way for free-to-play players to come into the ecosystem, try it out, see it's cool, and then go, wow, actually, maybe I do want to spend 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks or whatever to get in. So as soon as you start, like the whole idea of those missions is again, someone that doesn't have any money or wasn't planning on spending any money, it's a free-to-play game. They try out those missions, they see that they're getting airdrop points, and then they go, maybe I will try a much bloody the chat. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked there with your guys' conversation.
I'm very aggressive.
Yes. So it's a way to get them into the ecosystem, dip their toe in the water, and we don't want to remove that just purely because of the bots. There's better ways that we can go at combating them without hurting the ecosystem and the intention that we had from day one.
And what will happen to the bots accounts once you find them? Does all the assets get lost? Do you burn them? How does a bot account get dealt with once it's found?
So we remove them. We remove their airdrop points. We don't have it was actually interesting. We spoke to IMX about it. Obviously, it's not our network, right? So these NFTs that are minted are sitting on the IMX network, which makes it a little bit tricky. But we did speak to them about it and said, look, if we've got some systemic issues here, would there be a way for us to potentially at least flag an NFT and say that this has been generated outside of our terms or whatever, and then even to a point where if we said to them, hey, we want to blacklist these NFTs so you couldn't actually use them, they said it's something that we could potentially look at. We've obviously looked at it ourselves because, as you know, they've made quite a few games for themselves, and but it is tricky because as soon as you go down that route and you get into a situation where a legit player has just gone onto the marketplace and purchased one of these assets, and then we blacklist it, it's kind of like, what do you do with the money there, right? Like, who do you refund them? You can't refund them. Like, it gets a little bit tricky.
And with that, it is time for us to move over to Overworld, which has got a lot of really interesting questions for you, Kieran. So, here we go, right at the front. We'll give you an easy one. Including upper management, how many people are currently working on the Overworld? Obviously, it's the majority of the team, but like, what are we looking at here?
Again, excluding artists or including artists?
Including artists, let's say.
Like 70? Something like that. I don't know. It's a fucking lot. I'll put it that way.
I guess most resources goes to the Overworld. It's the biggest project out of all the other games, I would imagine, anyways.
A lot of it's very art intense, obviously. So almost every single artist that we have on our team has worked on the Overworld at some point. Developer-wise, there's around about there's some technical devs there, like art devs that are in there as well. There's probably around like 15 to 20, something like that.
Yeah. Awesome. With Overworld, what happens if a failed transaction goes through the forge or something like that? I saw a couple of things in Discord recently. Is there something put in place? Obviously, best case scenario, there's no failed transactions, but as the game works, is it something you then manually have to go through? Will there be some sort of support ticket or something like that?
Yeah, so we'll ask you to create a support ticket. Our team will go through, check out what's gone wrong, and then we'll work with that person individually to work out the transaction. If it's an ongoing thing, then we have to look a little bit deeper and try and fix the root of the cause. But yeah, it will be on a case-by-case basis. It shouldn't be too many transactions. Like, most people are playing the Overworld now on testnet, which is nowhere near as built up as their main net, and so I don't think that there's going to be too many issues there, and we should just be able to handle it from customer support.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other thing is, what are the plans to populate the world with more life? Currently, it's a beautiful game with beautiful environments, obviously, but it still feels quite lifeless. We still see this in the community all the time, and no matter how many times I tell them NPCs are coming, I think they want to hear it straight from you. So will there be more NPCs, interaction? What do you and the team have planned?
Well, I'm playing a game where the NPCs are in Sanctum Mesa. So hopefully that
Ooh,
answers your
Give
question.
give us more details. How many are they? Do they do a lot of stuff? Do you battle against them? How interactive are they really?
So I agree with you. There needs to be. I don't think it's it's not so much empty anymore. It's more purpose, right? Like it's more. There needs to be more story-driven purpose. So that is going to take place through interactions with NPCs, and there's two types. There can just be the standard conversation where you go up to an NPC and it says, "Hey, you know, what are you doing to help rebuild the ship? Get back to work, Ranger." Something basic like that. And then there's others where you actually battle the NPC. It tells you a little bit more about the lore and gives you a little, tidbits about the storyline. Then if you beat it, if you go out and finish the mission, you'll come back and now you'll say, "Hey, don't get too big for your boots," and battle me. And then you go and battle the NPC, and maybe you win, and it goes, "Hey, here's a sword to help you on your travels," and then as well, giving you a little bit more about the storyline as well. And those will get progressively harder and harder as you go out through and unlock regions throughout the world. And really, when you see that, because that was the first thing for me, I'm like, I see it, I'm like, we need to make it better and better and better and better and like work more. And people are like, dude, we can't, like, we're done here. Like, we need to have a break. And that was one thing where I was like, we cannot launch on the 25th without NPCs. And so we've got them in the basic form, but we don't have the NPC battles yet. That will hopefully come pretty quickly after. There's already a pop of that, which looks pretty cool, and has a similar voiceover to the one that I just used, which obviously needs some work. But yeah, look, this is not a situation where we're like, "Oh, what? RPGs need storyline to be told through NPCs and like strategic battles with these people," where like we've played games all our lives. We know it's very, very, very intense when you're building so many things at once. The cool thing is once we go live and everyone has a break and comes back, that Overworld team is going to be thinking, what features can we introduce to make the game much better than it already is? And then things like multiplayer and whatever will slowly be worked on.
There you go. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. So you guys can stop asking in Discord about NPCs. Everything seems to be coming. It's just a matter of time and resources on what goes first and what's more important. But people are wondering, especially the players that did the testing, is they've noticed that Tier 5, Stage 3 alluvials have become incredibly rare. Obviously, this is a balancing thing through our test phase. Some of the players are feeling like it's less engaging. Is this intended? Is this just sort of you guys balancing, playing with the rarity of everything? Or how do you see Stage 3 play out? Because there's a bit of controversial, like I've personally tried to guess what the cost is per fuel, all speculation. And then people are like, I can't afford this, that's too expensive, blah, blah, blah. But I guess you guys have a rough idea and you've got the data. You guys know more than anyone. What does Stage 3 look like to you? Is it a one-off sort of run, or is it going to be sort of intertwined with everything?
So they're meant to be rare, right? Like that's the first thing. They are meant to be rare. You're talking about something that should hold a decent amount of value just purely because there aren't that many of them. They're super powerful. They're very useful in the arena. And when you talk about things like the Leviathan, we want them on purpose to be rare. But at the same time, they still need to be somewhat accessible, right? But I think if you go back probably 3 or 4 builds, when you're running into a stage 3 tier 5, like just almost every single run, I was kind of like, it's losing it the other way for me, right? I'm seeing too many of them, and I'm not getting that like, oh my god, I've seen one feeling. But it's all, regardless of all that, it's those adjustments are tied back to how much we think or we believe is realistic for someone to spend in order to capture all the alluvials. Like what we call it is the catch 'em all, and that's the end state that the average user should have to pay to capture all of them in non-hollow, then all of them in hollow, then all of them in dark hollow. And if we can hit those tiers, and the economy is pretty close to those, then I think it makes it accessible for mainstream players to come in, and it's not like, whoa, this is like so crypto heavy where it's like $8 trillion to capture anything. That's like a big turnoff. But at the same time, we need to understand that this is a game that has a real world economy attached to it. And yes, some people are like, I just want to spend 13 cents to get a Ramfire. Like, that's not realistic either, right? So we need to find the balance in between the two. And yeah, I'm not going to go out and tell you what those numbers are, but from my perspective, I think they're pretty good. Like, we're back when fuel was like $500 to do a run and stuff, and you know, like we were testing things and talking about that, which was a real thing, right? Like that, I think, was just like, we're going to extract as much value as we can from these crypto people. There's probably 10,000 of them out there. Let's just milk them dry. That's gone, right? Like, we now have a really good happy medium where I think you could honestly pitch your mainstream friend and them not be like, dude, you're living in fairyland. It's somewhat realistic.
Yeah, for sure. I think the stage 3 run is just where a lot of people see the fun of the game, where it's more interesting. You find more interesting alluvials and things like that. But at the same time, it's really difficult to actually combat the alluvials there now. And so you're not really going to be doing 100 stage 3 runs off the bat like you were in some of the airdrops. So I think that's good as well. So the next thing is, what is the status of overworld combat? And like Alluva Hub also asked in the chat just before, if you could talk about any new capturing mechanics that are in development for the overworld, because overworld combat is going to make capturing change, maybe, or we don't know. Can you tell us?
So that's a really frustrating one for me, because and for that team. So I don't know if you know, but I decided to go out and heavily incentivize a few focus groups. The whole DAO, I've incentivized all of the core contributors for hitting these dates to line up with the 25th. So everyone has a bonus structure. But then I went out and I said, you know what? I want to create these focus groups where a certain feature, Gauntlet was one of them, and I think you would have got your access to that today, right, Scorias?
Yeah, I'm excited to try it after this.
So that was one of them. Another one was combat. I wanted combat, and I wanted it really bad. Now, the thing about combat was they were like, we can probably get, like, this is about 8 weeks ago, after Andre and Chubba built the POC, I was like, we can't launch this feature unless we have all the alluvials. It just doesn't work, right? Like, it's weird. It's like, oh, why can I only choose combat with these alluvials and not others? It will look half-baked. And so I said to those guys, I said, I'll incentivize you, but your target is going to be to do all 200. And they were like, what? There's no way. Like, we can't do that. And then we had a bit of a negotiation back and forth, and it ended up, they were like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Right. But we got about, and so it's done to a polish of about, I'd say 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. So now the reason we didn't keep pushing it is there was a whole bunch of other stuff that we wanted to introduce in Overworld, and because like things like NPCs, and because we were sitting there saying they were like, well, I'm incentivized heavily to do this, but I know the Overworld needs work there. We had to sort of just weigh up like, what do we want to do here? And we had to make a call about 6 weeks ago where we said, you know what, let's leave it, let's do it properly, let's get it in a way where the game design team has worked out like what's the difference between like how do we introduce like the auto battler plus combat so it's not jarring for people, and also we don't like launching anything at a 5 out of 10. We want to bring that up to like a 6, 7, 8 out of 10 before we even think about releasing it. But I've played it, I've watched Andre play it a lot. You've got they built it in a way where you've got your alluvials that you can help fight with you, right? So there's this shot that I think Dimitri did where there's like 6 alluvials running with you in the overworld. That's real. That's in-game where you can... Now, again, this is where game design, like 6 alluvials with you is a little bit crazy. Like the battle is so hectic that you're like, what is even going on here? Maybe we change that. Maybe you can only have 1 alluvial out with you. Maybe 2 alluvials if you have a certain drone component or whatever. But it's pretty awesome. The Rangers got the alluvials have their own like omegas. Obviously, the Ranger has its own omega. Combat. So Rich reckons if we show combat, everyone is going to say screw the auto battle. That's how he thinks it is.
100%.
I don't though. I'm like an auto battle lover, so I'm like, no, don't take that. But yeah, the point there is it's done, and those guys went just beast mode to get it done, and you can literally play all alluvials. And so yeah, I think that will be one of the first features that we release post-launch.
So would you say with, obviously for me personally, I'm a WoW player, so I know alluvial combat's definitely one of my top things personally, but how would you say as a fantasy world of importance, you've got multiplayer, raids, and I guess alluvial battling, how would you position that? Is that all something you want to get out in the next sort of 6 to 12 months, or is it going to take a little bit longer than that?
I want to get everything out in 2 weeks.
Yesterday.
Right. That's my philosophy. But realistically, if we could get multiplayer, I mean, combat is going to be pretty quick. Like if we can work out the game design rules and how it's going to work in terms of that, then combat will be very quick. Multiplayer, I've also played a version of that. We have a POC that's done where you can see other Rangers in Sanctum Mesa. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I would say 12 months would be a decent goal to get all of those done. Probably because there's multiplayer and then there's multiplayer like you're thinking where it's let's go smash this this Leviathan, all 8 of us with our 10 alluvials out, like that's full-blown chaos. But so yeah, I would say a version of multiplayer in 12 months would be a good target for us. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then obviously a lot of people are talking about regions. We've got, I think, is it 4 done in total? There's another 3 to go, a total of 7. How are they looking? How are you feeling about it? Obviously, it's not a priority right this very second because obviously launch and a million other things. But I guess in general, how are they all looking? How's it all going with the other final 3 regions?
So 1 is barely started, just being honest. And the good thing there is they've always been focused on like 3 regions at the same time, which is obviously very hard. The other 2 regions are probably at about 60 or 70% completion, maybe even a little bit more now. So they will be fairly, quick to be released, and once they unlock, they will be available. And then the good thing there is instead of them working on 3, they get to work on 1 region, so it should be done much faster. So in terms of regions, based on how long it should take to unlock each region, there shouldn't really be any delay more than what the game's intention was meant to be always.
Yeah, so the last Overworld question we have is one you've probably been expecting. Personally, Sam loves the auto scan and the reroll features. Me, I'm mixed. I hate the reroll as it stands right now. And there have been mixed reviews from the community all over the place, okay? Many people think it's fine. Many people think it's pay to win or whatever it is. What are your thoughts on it?
So, the scanning and checking where the alluvials are, I'm obviously a big fan of that. It was my idea to add that in. And what I would say there is, like, obviously some people are going to say, but I don't have enough money to go and do that. And here's why that doesn't actually matter. Someone who goes and uses this feature, and the pricing is not set. Right now, it's double the amount of fuel you have to pay to go in and play the game in that way. But it may, I think we ended up saying it'll be triple in the last economy meeting. And it was kind of funny because they slipped the reroll feature through on me, and I didn't actually know about that. And it was like, oh, you knew? And I was like, no, I didn't. Like, I absolutely didn't. So it was a funny economy meeting that we had this week. So I'll go into that. But why I think the auto scan isn't that bad is if it's 3 times more, right? And I use the auto scan feature to go and collect my alluvials. My sunk cost is 3 times higher than what another player is that has more time. So either that means that I can sell my alluvials cheaper, which means they're likely to sell quicker because I don't have the same cost as someone like Sam, or it means I can take that premium and say, well, Sam's going to sell a Ramfire on the market for 4,500, whereas I could sell it on the market for 1,500. Now I'm not going to sell it for 1,500. I'm also going to sell it for 4,500. But instead of you making a small amount of money, they are going to be making a huge amount of money, 3 times the amount that you're going to make. So it actually helps the economy. And the situation that I don't want is there are whales right now that are time poor, that have a lot of money, really, really healthy for the ecosystem, for them to be able to go and play the game, right? And there'll be people out there that say, but that's what the marketplace is for, you know? They should just buy it on the marketplace like it was intended. And here's the issue with that, right? Like, I agree, that is going to be, maybe Sam goes out and uses his Love Island profits to go and ransack the the marketplace. Sorry, Sam, I had to slip that in there. And but is he more likely to spend on that marketplace if he's bought in, right? Like, if he feels like, okay, I'm going to play this game, and yeah, I don't have as much time as some other people who are playing 16 hours a day, but if I can play a couple of hours a day and feel like I also have a chance to get tier 5 characters, and he's like got that feeling of, wow, I did it myself, how much more likely is he to get bought into the game where he's like, well, I can do this, but I still don't have as much time, because it's not an instant cheat where you can just capture everything in the region. It just shows you where they are. You still need to travel, you still need to battle them, you still need the equipment, you still need so many different things. If he's going to that length to play the game, he's invested, right? You've got him at enough of a time investment that he's like, well, now that I'm here, I still don't have the time to get my Ramfires and stuff like that, but I'm loving the game. Instead of me spending $5,000, I'm going to go and spend $50,000 because I love this game and this IP, right? If we don't have that accessibility for players like that, I fear that, yeah, you might get some people that are just like, well, Alluvium's a popular game, so I'm going to go and buy all of the assets in the hope that they go up in value at some stage. But that's not going to be anywhere near as many people if you can also get them playing the game and addicted themselves. I think that grows exponentially.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'll be spending a lot of money in the game, not expecting to make money back. But I would say I'm not a whale, but I'll be spending a fair bit of money. And the thing with those features is it makes my experience a million times better. If I've only got an hour or two on my computer, I do the auto region. It saves me so much time. I have fun for 2 hours. I can go away, go to the pub, do whatever else. So personally, if you times me by thousands of other people who are super busy and just want to have fun, all you're taking away, it's a time mechanic. So I love the feature personally, hence why I was all for it. And now the very last Overworld question is I want to pitch a feature from a whale's perspective, I guess, is I noticed when doing stage 3 runs that I would see still a lot of mining, still a lot of plants everywhere, but my energy's up. And I was like, I just wish I could save me going in and out. I just want to get more minings done. I want to do more plants. Would there be potentially an option to buy more energy while I'm in the region, save me going out than back in? Because I'll spend more money, I'll spend more fuel. And this is coming from me personally, but I'm assuming there'll be others out there going, I'm just on a mining run. I just want to keep doing my mining. Is that maybe an idea, or is it something that would clash with the economics of it?
Possibly. It would need to fit into the economy. We would need to look at it. Like the way that it's set up right now is on a per run basis. Off the top of my head, I think it could be possible, but we would definitely need to check a whole bunch of things. Like there's a reason you have a certain amount of energy and a certain amount of alluvials that you can capture and things that you can mine. So yeah, it's definitely possible in the future. And any of those features that help time poor people that have very large pockets, I think we should be looking to introduce features like that as much as possible, because it's very, very healthy for the economy.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Illuvium is a business, and I think once RevDiv start, people might see some sort of benefit there anyways. So marketing, I'm just going to sum the marketing into one big question, as we are sort of running over time now, and we still have a couple of more questions. But if I sum marketing up as one question, what's the marketing plan for the first 1 to 3 months? Daily active users, do you have certain numbers you want to hit between now and the end of the year? Anything in marketing perspective that the community can see what you guys are doing behind the scenes? Obviously, we don't see everything that TSG is doing, even though it's not much. But I feel like people always keep saying marketing this, marketing that. I personally don't like the idea of Google ads or Facebook ads. I like the idea of going after TFT streamers or something like that. But if you could ease the mind of the community of what is going on behind closed doors in a marketing perspective, or are you holding off another 3-6 months until you sort of refine the bugs or something like that?
So up until this point, a lot of people will say, like, where's the marketing, right? And first of all, when you really look at how much we've done over the last 3 years, we may not have paid for a lot of marketing, but there's a ton of stuff that we've done. There's a reason why when people think gaming in Web3 and crypto, you think Illuvium, right? We've had 20 plus articles in the larger Cointelegraph type CoinDesk publications, and we've done that without paying a PR person, without paying an agency.
All right, what do I want to do to wrap this up? I'm going to list a few things for sale tonight. Hopefully they'll sell over the night. If I do well enough with the sales of what we have so far, then we can start our first stage 1 run tomorrow. Oh, maybe not. I have the kids tomorrow. Might be Sunday. Yep, I may not be able to stream tomorrow because I will have the kids tomorrow and it's a Saturday, so they don't have camp or school or anything. Might not be able to stream tomorrow. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'll get that stuff listed. We'll see how it goes. The big thing is that hollow water Graco with the good stats. And I'm going to also post on Discord about that, see if I can sell it. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Catch you next time.